Chapter 2136. It was indeed a troublesome matter. Grand Cloud Empire's strength was there for all to see. What do you two plan to do? Looking at the two people who were smiling faintly, Longao instantly understood that the two of them must have a countermeasure. Master, we have already discussed this. There is only one way to force Grand Cloud Empire away. What is it? Heifeng thought for a moment and said, it's very simple. Display your strength and make Grand Cloud Empire fearful. This way, even if Grand Cloud Empire is unhappy, they won't dare to casually make a move. In just an instant, Longao already understood what the two of them meant. We'll do it your way. Jimai and Heifeng smiled. Without any hesitation, they immediately spread the news. Soaring Dragon Plains Dragon Sect has a titled world king overseeing it. Once the news spread out, it shook the entire starry sky. Everyone was very clear what a titled world king meant. Even if Dragon Sect didn't have the strength to rule over thousands of planes, they would at least have a titled world king overseeing it. With such a force, not to mention other planes, even Grand Cloud Empire wouldn't dare to casually provoke them. The sudden rise of the soaring dragon realm caused everyone to be extremely shocked. Just like what Jimai and Heifeng had guessed, the news of a titled world king overseeing the soaring dragon realm had spread. Even Grand Cloud Empire was very unhappy and fearful of a titled world king, so they did not dare to act rashly. Even so, Dragon Sect didn't act recklessly. Instead, they carefully developed their sect's strength. It was still the same sentence. To establish an empire, there were two conditions that had to be met first. Feng Xiu's cultivation was about to break through to titled world king. If he could rule over thousands of planes, then he could officially establish an empire. However, at this moment, Master, you want us to stop our actions immediately? Hearing the Master's words, both Jimai and Heifeng were very shocked. They never thought that the Master would ask them to stop their actions for no reason. What the hell happened? Both of you, I have thought about it these few days. If we continue to expand our forces, in the end, not only will there be no benefits, we will also provoke many powerful enemies. It is useless. Both of them didn't speak. Because both of them knew very well that the Master would not be so reckless. Our only option is to stop the operation. I'll invite some experts to oversee the sect. When the time comes, we'll destroy Haoyun Empire and replace it. Instead. So that was the case. The two of them were shocked. Of course, both of them knew that replacing and destroying Haoyun Empire was much better than slowly developing on their own. However, destroying Haoyun Empire was easier said than done. Every starry sky empire was not simple. To be able to stand tall in the vast starry sky, Grand Cloud Empire's strength should not be underestimated. If he was not careful, the Dragon Sect would fall into eternal damnation. Master, I believe you should be well aware of Grand Cloud Empire's strength. Unless we have 3 titled world kings, we have no chance of victory. Leave this to me. Seeing that the Master had already made up his mind, the two of them could only agree no matter how unwilling they were. Longao had the final say in Dragon Sect. Even if the two of them were Vice Master, they had no right to interfere with Longao's decisions. Back Mountain. In a courtyard with a very beautiful environment. Senior Feng Xiu, Haoyun Empire is very powerful. If we want to destroy Haoyun Empire and replace it, it would be a little too difficult. It turned out that Longao was doing this because of Feng Xiu's suggestion. Brother Long, Haoyun Empire is not as powerful as you think. When I completely refine the blood and break through to Starry Sky World Emperor, I can help you destroy Haoyun Empire. Since it was already like this, what else could he say? Longao could only nod in agreement. According to Feng Xiu's calculations, he would need at least 3 years to completely refine the blood and break through to Starry Sky World Emperor. Could it be that he would stay in Soaring Dragon Realm for 3 years? Longao did not continue to stay. After a few simple words with the two of them, he chose to leave Soaring Dragon Realm. Other than establishing an empire, the most important thing was to find Bai Ling and Xiling's whereabouts. The longer he delayed, the greater the problem of Bai Ling and Xiling's safety. Devouring Sky Domain. Yi Dugu and Long Batian entered the vast starry sky, and their first stop was the Devouring Sky Domain. Currently, the most famous person in the Devouring Sky Domain was Longao. He destroyed Chenkuan's sect and wreaked havoc in Devouring Heaven Empire. Such actions could be said to be unprecedented. Longao is really powerful. He has just stepped into the starry sky and he has already caused such a huge commotion in the Heaven-Devouring Empire. What shocked me the most was that the Heaven-Devouring Empire couldn't even keep Longao here. It's unbelievable. Yidugu was still in disbelief. When he was at his peak, he had entered the vast starry sky a few times. Of course, he knew what Devouring Heaven Empire meant. Not to mention Longao, even other starry sky empire would not dare to offend Devouring Heaven Empire. Long Batian was also shocked. According to the rumors, Longao was now a starry sky domain emperor. It was hard to imagine that Longao's cultivation speed was so fast. One had to know that their situation was completely different from Longao's. Longao had never devoured any starry sky godhead. It was simply unbelievable that he could cultivate at such a speed. Young master, what should we do now? Long Batian's cultivation had successfully broken through to the titled World King realm. Even so, he did not dare to go against Yidugu. No matter what, the divine mathematician was the ruler of the starry sky. If the divine mathematician wanted to destroy him, it would be a matter of minutes. Since we have nothing to do, why don't we go look for Longao? What do you think? Long Batian naturally hoped to see Longao as soon as possible. Although he knew that Longao was his junior disciple, as Longao grew stronger and stronger, this relationship would no longer exist. Young master, we have no idea where Longao is right now. In the boundless starry sky, where should we go to look for Longao? In the vast starry sky, there were countless planes and worlds. Looking for a single person was like looking for a needle in a haystack. That's easy. According to Longao's personality, he definitely won't give up so easily. As long as we follow the news, we will definitely be able to find Longao. The two of them first stayed in the Heaven-Devouring Plane and investigated the grudges between Longao and the Heaven-Devouring Empire. If they didn't investigate, they wouldn't have known. After all, the hatred between Longao and the Heaven-Devouring Empire was truly earth-shattering. Was Longao really just a starry sky domain emperor? P.S. Send the second chapter here. Chapter 2137. After leaving the soaring dragon realm, Longao felt a little helpless. The universe was vast and boundless. Where should he go to find Xiling and Bai Ling? How were Xiling and Bai Ling doing? According to Xian Tong, Xiling and Bai Ling should be fine. Even if he found them now, it would be useless. He might as well wait until he was stronger before looking for them. Even so, Longao couldn't wait for even a minute. It was better to find Xiling and Bai Ling first. It wasn't easy to find the two of them in the vast universe. He didn't know where the news came from, but Fang Shan and Fang Xia had left the Heaven-Devouring Empire and entered the Grand Cloud Realm. Because of Bu Jing's threat, the Heaven-Devouring Empire could only deal with Longao after 3 years. However, Fang Shan and Fang Xia couldn't wait any longer. They had to kill Longao. Fang Shan's cultivation had already reached the starry sky world king level. If he could recover to his peak, he would be a true titled world king. As for Fang Xia, she had also reached the starry sky world king level. Fang Xia's master, Ning Wook, had thought that he could rely on Fang Xia to recover his strength as a titled world king. However, he didn't expect that Fang Xia would backfire and destroy his primordial spirit. If Fang Xia was lucky, she could rely on Ning Wook's strength to become a titled world king. Old ancestor, according to the Empire's news, Longao has already entered the Grand Cloud Realm and established the Dragon Sect, occupying the Soaring Dragon Realm. One had to admit that the Heaven-Devouring Empire was very powerful. They could find Longao's whereabouts in such a short time even though they were separated by a realm. Longao is really arrogant. He actually dares to establish a sect and occupy a realm. Old ancestor, according to the rumors, there is a titled world king in the Soaring Dragon Realm. If we act rashly, we might end up losing the rice used to lure it. The two of them were well aware of what it meant to be a titled world king. Fang Shan coldly sneered, his face filled with disdain. He said, if Longao had the help of a titled world king, he wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state. It was just a gimmick. Fang Shan didn't believe that the dragon sect had a titled realm king overseeing it. Then, shall we head to the soaring dragon realm now? Fang Shan laughed. Soaring dragon realm. With the help of the teleportation circle, the two of them quickly stepped into the soaring dragon realm. Currently, there was only one supreme overlord in the soaring dragon realm, and that was the dragon sect. Ancestor of heaven and earth. Fang Xia. Sprig Plum Blossom and Haifeng were not surprised by their sudden arrival. No matter what, they had a grudge against their master. It would be strange if they chose to give up. The two of them were very afraid of Fang Xia and Fang Shan. Fang Shan's cultivation had already broken through to the Starry Sky World King realm. As for Fang Xia, she had already reached the Starry Sky World Master realm. If it was only Fang Xia, the two of them wouldn't think too much. After all, Haifeng's cultivation had already broken through to the Starry Sky Realm King realm. Only Fang Shan was troublesome. Call Longao out, you coward. Who are you? Why should our master come out to see you? Sprig Plum Blossom sneered. So what if Fang Shan was also a Starry Sky Realm King? One had to know that there was still a Feng Xiu overseeing the dragon sect. You don't know the meaning of death. Just as the two of them were about to attack, a terrifying aura rose. It was none other than Feng Xiu. Starry Sky Realm King? The two of them glanced at each other. In the next second, Feng Xiu's figure had already approached them from afar. In the blink of an eye, he was right in front of them. Who are you? Feng Xiu. Of course, the two of them didn't know that Feng Xiu was from the Body Clan. Otherwise, they would have turned and left immediately. The Body Clan was incomparably powerful. Sir Feng Xiu, the grudge between us and Longao has nothing to do with you. You don't have to get involved in this flood. The two of them didn't want to start a fight unless it was absolutely necessary. If they were at their peak, they wouldn't be afraid of a Starry Sky Realm King. But in their current situation, once they started a fight, it was unknown who would win and who would lose. Feng Xiu sneered. He didn't put the two of them in his eyes. Scram. What did you say? Fang Xia's expression changed. She never thought that the other party would be so arrogant. So what if Feng Xiu was a Starry Sky Realm King? Ancestor or Starry Sky Realm King, who was more powerful? Get out of the soaring dragon realm. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. After stopping the angry Fang Xia, Fang Shan snorted coldly. The two of them turned and left. Thank you, Great Elder. You're welcome. Sprig Plum Blossom and Haifeng's expressions were ugly as they watched the two of them leave. Although they had used Feng Xiu's deterrence to scare the two of them away, the two of them would definitely not let this go. This wasn't the way to go. What do you think we should do? Haifeng thought for a moment and said, there's no need to inform the master about this. If nothing unexpected happens, the two of them will definitely not let this go. All right. Sprig Plum Blossom was very worried about the master's safety. No matter what, Fang Shan and Fang Xia's strength was obvious. If the two of them found the master, it would be very troublesome. Fang Shan and Fang Xia didn't leave the soaring dragon realm. The two of them chose to stay for the time being. If they couldn't kill Longao after entering the soaring dragon realm, how could they be satisfied? The two of them didn't expect that there would be a Starry Sky Realm King in the dragon sect. If that was the case, things would become troublesome. Ancestor, what should we do now? Fang Xia was very curious when she saw the ancestor suddenly smile. She didn't know what was going on with the ancestor. Xia, don't be impatient. Although we didn't expect that there would be a Starry Sky Realm King in the dragon sect, this can explain a problem. What problem? Fang Xia became more and more curious. It's very simple. If there was a titled Realm King in the dragon sect, would we be able to leave smoothly this time? Fang Xia instantly understood the ancestor's meaning. If a titled Realm King was in the dragon sect, they wouldn't have the slightest chance of killing Longao. But now, the situation was completely different. If there was only a starry sky realm king in the dragon sect without a titled realm king, then the two of them still had a chance. No matter what, the ancestor was also a starry sky realm king. It wasn't certain who would win and who would lose. Longao should already know that we are here, but he hasn't come out. If I'm not mistaken, he shouldn't be here. Then where should we go to find Longao? Their purpose was to kill Longao. If Longao wasn't in the soaring dragon realm, then there wasn't much meaning in them continuing to stay. Fang Shan sneered and said, "We don't need to look everywhere for Longao's traces. We can just wait for him to show up." P.S. Copy of Chapter 3. Chapter 2138. Longao didn't know that Fang Shan and Fang Xia had come to the soaring dragon realm. If he had known, Longao would have rushed back as soon as possible. Longao was no longer the same as before. Even if he couldn't kill them with his own strength, what about the two Starry Sky Corpse demons? The two Starry Sky Corpse demons were both Starry Sky Realm Kings. They could kill Fang Shan and Fang Xia in a matter of minutes. The current Longao had already left the soaring dragon dimension. He was looking for the whereabouts of Bai Ling and Xiling while looking for traces of the reincarnation clan. Until now, Longao didn't quite believe the mysterious young man's words that he was his reincarnation. He was very depressed. To find the reincarnation clan, the reincarnation sword in his hand was the key. In the dragon seal space. "Senior, I have something to ask." The reincarnation clan. That's right. For some reason, Longao had a feeling that the so-called Long Mie, the ruler of the reincarnation Starry Sky, had something to do with the reincarnation clan. Was the ruler of the reincarnation Starry Sky a member of the reincarnation clan? It seems that you have guessed it. Was it true? Longao, you can think of it this way. I am both a member of the reincarnation clan and not a member of the reincarnation clan. What do you mean? Longao was a little confused by Long Mie. What did he mean by both a member of the reincarnation clan and not a member of the reincarnation clan? Was he a member of the reincarnation clan or not? He was helpless. Back then, I chose to fall and enter the reincarnation realm. After reincarnation, I was reincarnated into the reincarnation clan in one of my lives. It was also in that life that I had the greatest hope of recovering to the peak of the Starry Sky Dominator. In an instant, Longao had already understood what was going on. According to the legend, the reincarnation clan suddenly rose and a super genius appeared in the reincarnation clan. In just a few hundred years, he achieved supreme strength and dominated the vast starry sky. If there was no accident, this legendary super expert should be Long Mie. No one would have thought that the reincarnation expert who dominated the vast starry sky was actually a starry sky dominator. If this news were to spread out, it would cause a sensation. He sighed deeply. Back then, I was a little too reckless. I wanted to rely on my own strength to stand at the peak of the starry sky again, but I didn't expect to be besieged by many forces and eventually fall. Their only chance was gone. Longao had already guessed that it wouldn't be easy for the 12 starry sky rulers to recover to their peak. Although he had already guessed it, he was still shocked. He seemed to have thought of something. Since Long Mie was the strongest person in the Lun clan, then what about the mysterious young man? The mysterious youth was also an expert from the Lun clan. Did Dragon Annihilation know this person? Alright, I know what you're thinking. The person inside the wordless heavenly book is me. As expected. It seemed that his guess was correct. The mysterious young man in the wordless heavenly book, who looked exactly like him, was Long Mie. The two of them were actually the same person. In that case, didn't that mean that he was the reincarnation of Long Mie? Was that even possible? It was a pain in the ass. Longao realized that things were getting more and more complicated and mysterious. Whether it was true or not, he couldn't just rely on their one-sided words. Longao, you are my 100 reincarnation. I didn't expect that you and I could exist at the same time, even though I'm only a remnant soul now. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for two people's primordial spirits to exist at the same time. Even the starry sky ruler couldn't do that. If it was possible, then the cultivator of the starry sky could create countless clones. The clones condensed by the cultivators of the starry sky today wouldn't have their own primordial spirits. Senior, if that's the case, is there any meaning in me looking for the Lun clan? In Longao's view, this matter had indeed lost its meaning. Longmire smiled helplessly. Looking at his 100 reincarnation in front of him, he said helplessly, Longao, under normal circumstances, I should have killed you. Longao didn't panic at all. He stood calmly, because he knew very well that if Longmire wanted to attack, he wouldn't need to talk nonsense with him. He could just attack directly. Even if Longmire's strength hadn't recovered to the starry sky ruler level and was only a remnant soul, he believed that it would be more than enough to kill Jian Wushuang. The power of the dragon seal alone was not something Jian Wushuang could contend against. Longmire seemed to admire Jian Wushuang very much. He continued, I should have disappeared during your reincarnation and you should have started to awaken your memories. However, I found that you won't awaken my memories during this reincarnation. That's why I can exist. What does that mean? Longao was very curious. He was getting more and more confused. It's very simple. My reincarnation this time, which is you, won't awaken my memories. There is only one reason why I exist alone. That is, you have left me and are no longer me. I see. Longao roughly understood Longmire's meaning. He was his reincarnation and also an independent existence. If that was the case, then he could also say that he wasn't Longmire's reincarnation because he wouldn't awaken any of Longmire's memories or things. Was this a good or bad thing? Longao couldn't guarantee that Longmire would be a friend and not an enemy. Longao, although you are an independent existence, you still managed to find the Lun clan, which will be of great help to you. According to this situation, even if you can't inherit the Lun clan's power, you can still help me. When the time comes, I won't treat you unfairly and will let you break through to the Starry Sky Realm King level. I see. Longmire's meaning was very clear. Jian Wushuang had to find the whereabouts of the Lun clan, not to help him, but to help Longmire. Longao could imagine what Longmire would do if he refused to find or go to the Lun clan. He would definitely kill him without hesitation. Senior, there is something I don't understand. Since your reincarnation has reincarnated once, I believe you must know the whereabouts of the Lun clan. Why don't you go there yourself? There is a remnant soul. If I act rashly and get swallowed by others, I don't know how many years it will take for me to reincarnate again. Longao felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, because from the moment he obtained the dragon seal, he had a feeling that he had always been a chess piece. It was as if this was a game of chess between the rulers of the starry sky, and he and everyone else were chess pieces. No matter where they went or how they went, it was not something he could solve. So what if he felt uncomfortable in his heart? In the vast starry sky, the strong were respected. This was the world of the rulers of the starry sky. Who could escape the fate of being a chess piece? P.S. The first chapter has been delivered. Today, Little 9 will make up for the missing chapters. Including yesterday's, there should be 7 chapters. Adding today's 5 chapters, there will be a total of 12 chapters. Chapter 2139. Senior, where is the location of the Lun clan? Since Longmire was the super expert of the Lun clan, there was no doubt that he knew the location. Not only that, Longao was almost certain that Longmire must have left something important in the Lun clan. Otherwise, why would he be so anxious about the Lun clan? But one had to know. To Longmire, the Lun clan was just his reincarnation. To the Lun clan was just a passing traveler. I don't know. Longmire sighed deeply and said helplessly, if I could confirm the location of the Lun clan, I would have let you go long ago. Why wait until now? Now that he thought about it, it was indeed the case. If Longmire really knew the location of the Lun clan, there was no need to do this. This was troublesome. The Lun clan sealed themselves back then. For so many years, no one had found the whereabouts of the Lun clan. Just by himself? Just by the reincarnation sword in his hand? Could he really find the Lun clan? Longao had no confidence at all because this kind of thing was too vague. It was like looking for a needle in the sea. Longao, the key to opening the Lun clan is the reincarnation sword in your hand. As for how to find the seal of the Lun clan, even I have no idea. But I believe that you can find it. Longao smiled helplessly. He didn't have any confidence in himself. Where did Longmye get his confidence from? Why did Longmye trust him so much? The wordless heavenly book had disappeared. Longao didn't know why Longmye and the mysterious youth were the same person. What did he mean by creating a mysterious youth? He didn't continue asking. The more he asked, the more mistakes he would make. Longao was very clear about his identity. If what Longmye said was true, even if he was his reincarnation, he was still an independent existence. Then, Longmye must be using him. At this moment, the Devour Chaos tablet in his dantian began to move again. He was extremely depressed. With a whoosh, the Devour Chaos tablet left his dantian and appeared in front of Longao. What was going on? Longao noticed that ever since he had left the martial heaven plane and entered the vast starry sky, the number of times he had devoured the primal chaos tablets had increased. Originally, there had been signs of him refining them, but now, it seemed that the refining process was slowly disappearing. He had refined it for nothing. Longao, don't bother with devouring the primal chaos stone tablet. Based on my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, the Devour primal spirit should have already awakened. Devouring the primal chaos stone tablet should have gone to find its master. Heh! Longao was a little surprised because he didn't think that the devouring chaos tablet would appear so frequently because it was preparing to find its master. He had always thought that if the Star Sky Ruler Devourer really died, he would be able to refine the chaos tablet. Then, once he became the new Star Sky Ruler, he would no longer be a pawn. It seemed that all of this was just a fantasy. Before Longao could react, the Devour Primal Chaos tablet that had just appeared had already disappeared. More or less, he felt indignant. He had a total of 2 Primal Chaos Stone tablets. Back then, because of the God Diviner, he had no choice but to hand over the 5 Elements Primal Chaos Stone tablet. Now, the devouring Primal Chaos Stone tablet was gone as well. His efforts had been for nothing. It was very depressing. At this moment, Longao, even if you obtain the Primal Chaos tablet, it won't be of any use to you. Although the 12 of us aren't immortal, it's impossible for us to die. As long as we don't truly die, it doesn't matter who obtains the Primal Chaos tablet, because there's no way to refine it. Furthermore, as we awaken, the Primal Chaos tablet will naturally return to our bodies. Longao already knew about this. I understand. As the Devour Chaos tablet disappeared, the martial heaven continent. In the outer sea, within the Crystal Palace, Master God Diviner, who had been resting with his eyes closed, suddenly changed. Suddenly, 3 beams of light shot out from within Master God Diviner's body. They were none other than the so-called 3 Chaos Steelies. The 3 Chaos Steelies were the Lightning, 5 Elements, and Darkness Chaos Steelies. It seems that everyone has awakened. The 3 Primal Chaos Stone tablets instantly disappeared. From then on, other than the Time Primal Chaos Stone tablet, all the other Primal Chaos Stone tablets had appeared. As for the Time Primal Chaos Stone tablet, if nothing unexpected happened, the Time Primal Chaos Stone tablet should have already awakened. The 12 Chaos tablets, the 5 Elements Chaos tablet, the Devouring Chaos tablet, the Lightning Chaos tablet, the Space Chaos tablet, the Time Chaos tablet, the Destruction Chaos tablet, the Reincarnation Chaos tablet, the Slaughter Chaos tablet, the Divine Divination Chaos tablet, the Sword Intent Chaos tablet, the Immortal Tyrant Body Chaos tablet, and the Darkness Chaos tablet had all awakened. The 12 Dominators of the Starry Sky were the Dominator of the 5 Elements Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Devouring Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Lightning Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Space Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Time Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Destruction Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Reincarnation Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Slaughter Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Divine Calculation Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Sword Will Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Immortal Tyrant Body, and the Dominator of the Darkness Starry Sky. What the others didn't know was that in the minds of everyone in the vast starry skies, the 12 rulers of the starry skies had already perished. Everyone was still desperately searching for the 12 Chaos Stone tablets, hoping to become a new ruler of the starry skies. However, the 12 rulers of the starry skies knew that even if they had awakened their primordial spirits, it wouldn't be easy for them to return to their peak state. For example, the 3 rulers of the starry skies, the immortal tyrant body, and the slaughter chaos tablet hadn't been able to return to their peak state after so many years. If others were to find out that the divine diviner had obtained 3 chaos stone tablets alone, and with the Heaven Dao's space chaos tablet, he would have a total of 4 chaos stone tablets. What would they think? Everyone has awakened. I hope that you can all recover soon. This is our last chance. If we fail again, we won't even have the chance to reincarnate. The divine diviner was helpless. After waiting for so many years, he had finally waited for all the rulers of the starry skies to awaken. As long as they were a little more careful, nothing would happen. Once they returned to their peak state, who in the entire starry skies would be a match for them? As the 3 chaos stone tablets left, the divine diviner heaved a sigh of relief. Everything was going according to his calculations. There wasn't a single deviation. Everything was under his control. This time, we will definitely succeed. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. The divine diviner closed his eyes and rested once more. P.S. Send the second chapter here. Chapter 2140. Martial Heaven Continent. 2 figures flashed by. Bai Ling, this is the last time. Don't do it again. Bai Ling smiled. I know that big sister loves me the most. Longao will be fine. But you promised me that you could only watch him from afar and not see him. I know. Bai Ling was very lonely. If the 2 of them hadn't found their true bodies, Xiling wouldn't have agreed to come to the Martial Heaven Continent to see Longao. After the 2 of them had found their true bodies, they had recovered to the titled World King realm. Moreover, they had refined the Sword Intense Primal Chaos Tablet. They were nearly indestructible existences. Big sister, do you think Longao knows your identity? Does he know? Until now. Whether it was Xiling or Bai Ling, neither of them knew that Longao had left the Martial Heaven Continent. They also didn't know that Longao already knew her identity. Others might not be able to break the seal on the Martial Heaven Continent. But as soon as the 2 of them entered, the seal automatically opened. Sword Intent, please. As soon as the 2 of them entered the Martial Heaven Continent, Xiling received Master God Diviner's invitation. Helpless, the 2 of them could only head to the Crystal Palace in the Outer Sea. Within the Crystal Palace in the Outer Sea. Sword Intent, congratulations on finding your true body. It seems that you aren't far from your peak. Xiling's expression was indifferent. Have all the primal chaos tablets disappeared? He wasn't surprised at all. The 3 primal chaos tablets in Master God Diviner's body were no secret. Yes, it seems that everyone has begun to awaken. Xiling also smiled. After waiting for so many years, it was finally here. Sword Intent, why have you returned to the Martial Heaven Continent? He asked the obvious. How could Master God Diviner not know why Xiling and Bai Ling had come to the Martial Heaven Continent? Xiling didn't point it out. He indifferently said, this silly little sister of mine has always been worried about Longao's safety. I brought her here mainly to see Longao. After this, the 2 of us will prepare to enter seclusion. So that's how it is. However, the 2 of you came at the wrong time. What's wrong? Did something happen to Brother Long? Bai Ling asked anxiously. No. Hearing the oracle's answer, Bai Ling finally breathed a sigh of relief and asked, what happened? Xiling seemed to have guessed something and asked, did Longao leave the Sky Martial realm and go to the vast starry sky? He was startled. Bai Ling was well aware of what it meant for Big Brother Long to go to the vast starry skies. With Big Brother Long's strength, once he stepped into the vast starry skies, the dangers would multiply. The vast starry sky was different from the Tianwu plain. It was filled with danger, and the slightest carelessness could lead to death. Bai Ling couldn't figure out why Bai Ling would leave the Martial Heaven plane and enter the vast starry sky. That's right. A few months ago, Longao left the Tianwu plain and entered the starry sky. Even I don't know his exact location. I can't help you with this matter. Sister. Bai Ling was very worried. She had finally returned to the Qianwu plain and thought that she would be able to see Big Brother Long again. She didn't expect that Big Brother Long was no longer in the Qianwu continent. The starry sky was boundless, and there were countless planes. Even the two of them couldn't find a single trace of a person in the vast starry sky. What should they do? Sword intent, Bai Ling, I just received news that Longao destroyed the Chenkuan plain not long ago and fought with the heaven-devouring empire. His whereabouts are unknown. What? Bai Ling stood up, and her expression changed. The two of them knew what the heaven-devouring empire meant. The heaven-devouring empire was a mid-tier existence among the many starry sky empires. Not only did they have a starry sky world emperor, but they also ruled over tens of thousands of worlds. Wasn't Longao trying to fight against the heaven-devouring empire like an egg striking a rock? Let alone Bai Ling, even Xiling hid her emotions. They knew that if the god diviner was right, then Longao was in grave danger. What was Longao doing? Xiling cursed inside. She was worried, but she didn't show it. She didn't want Bai Ling and the god diviner to notice anything wrong with her. She said, if that's the case, we'll take our leave first. Xiling's meaning was very clear. Now that Longao's life was at stake and his life was unknown, the two of them had to find Longao as soon as possible. Only then could they ensure Longao's safety. Sword intent, wait a moment. Is there something else? Bai Ling and Violet Spirit were very unhappy. Now that they knew that Longao was very dangerous, the two of them did not want to waste any time. Because the two of them were very clear that every minute they wasted, for Longao, would be more dangerous. Sword intent, we didn't succeed in the past. This is our last chance. What do you mean? Violet Spirit had a bad premonition. She was well aware of Master Clairvoyant's strength, especially his way of divination. He could predict almost anything. Master Clairvoyant might not be the strongest among the 12 rulers of the starry sky, but he was the most difficult to provoke. No one was willing to provoke Master Clairvoyant, including the rulers of the starry sky, massacre and destruction. I've already calculated. This is our last chance. If we don't succeed, the 12 of us will disappear from the vast starry sky. There will be no reincarnation, no chance, no awakening. We will disappear completely. Xiling was shocked. She knew what the god diviner meant. They had been waiting for this moment for so many years. For the 12 of them, this was their chance, but it was also their doom. Should they give up? That was impossible. The sword intent sighed helplessly and said, in that case, we have no other choice. Yes, we have no other choice. This time, we have to stake it all. If it's like the previous times, our chances of success will be less than 30%. The sword intent sneered and said, I don't have the final say. Gather everyone and ask them what they think. I don't care. We can fight or not. The sword intent's attitude was firm. He left the Crystal Palace with Bai Ling. Master God Diviner's face grew darker and darker as he watched the two of them disappear. Suddenly, a cold smile appeared on his face, and he muttered to himself, this time, I'll let all of you know how awesome I am. After leaving the Crystal Palace, Bai Ling couldn't wait to ask, Sister, what should we do now? Xiling knew what Bai Ling was worried about. He thought for a moment and said, let's go to the heaven-devouring empire and see what's going on. We can't believe the God Diviner's words. Okay. Xiling and Bai Ling didn't hesitate. They immediately left the Sky Martial realm and went to the heaven-devouring realm. Author's note, the third chapter is here. Chapter 2141. Xiling and Bai Ling were extremely fast. On the second day, they arrived at the heaven-devouring plain. They did not enter the heaven-devouring empire openly. No matter what, they had not recovered to their peak strength. If they were discovered by the heaven-devouring empire, the consequences would be unimaginable. Sister, we don't know where Brother Long is. What should we do? After asking around, the two finally found out what happened between the heaven-devouring empire and Longao. He fought against the heaven-devouring empire alone. Even Xiling and Bai Ling found it hard to believe. It's too difficult to find a person in the vast universe. Sister, I won't go with you until I'm sure Brother Long is safe. Bai Ling was determined. No matter what, she had to find Longao. Let's go. Xiling was helpless. If it was just Bai Ling, would Xiling do this? Xiling was probably the only one who knew what she was thinking. Only the upper echelons of the heaven-devouring empire would know about Longao's current situation. The news had been completely blocked. Xiling and Bai Ling would not know. Just like that. Longao searched everywhere for the two of them. The two of them also searched everywhere for Longao. They searched for each other. Longao had already left the plane and arrived at the Grand Cloud Plain. It was the base of the Grand Cloud Empire. Until now, he still did not know how to locate the Reincarnation Clan. Even if he had the key, he would not be able to enter the Reincarnation Clan. Long Mie did not rush Longao, but he knew that the longer he delayed, the worse it would be for him. He did not enter the Grand Cloud Plain. This was not the time to fall out with the Grand Cloud Empire. He would only be able to destroy the Grand Cloud Empire after Feng Xiu became a titled world emperor. If he chose to go against the Grand Cloud Empire now, he would be courting death. Locating the Reincarnation Clan was like finding a needle in a haystack. However, according to Long Mie's method, he had to constantly release the Samsara Sword. As long as the Samsara Sword reacted, he would be able to lock onto the position of the Samsara clan. When the Lun clan sealed themselves, Draconic Annihilation did not participate. It was precisely because of this that Draconic Annihilation was unable to lock onto the location of the Lun clan. In the vast starry sky, there were countless planes. Who knew where the Lun clan was sealed? No matter what, the Lun clan was mobile. This was the hardest thing to do. He constantly used the Samsara Sword to sense the location of the Samsara clan. Nothing was found. Longao was very depressed. He had no strength and was in a passive position. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Just as Longao was about to use the teleportation formation to go to other domains, he ran into an acquaintance. The Blood Demon was the dominator of the Starry Sky Destruction. Currently, Blood Demon had only recovered to the Starry Sky World King realm. He was still a long way from becoming a Starry Sky ruler. Longao knew that aside from the other 11-star rulers and himself, no one else knew about Blood Demon's identity. Longao. Blood Demon was shocked to see Longao. He never thought that in just a few years, Longao would reach the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor realm and leave the Sky Marshal Plane for the vast Starry Sky. It's been a long time. How have you been? In fact, Blood Demon and Longao didn't have any grudges. It was because Longao had obtained the Dragon Seal that their relationship was a little different. Both sides hated each other. Unless it was a last resort, no one was willing to make a move. The two could be considered acquaintances. They came to a secluded place and sat down. Longao, I've heard about you. Not bad. You actually dared to fight against the heaven-devouring empire alone. You're the first person in history. Longao smiled. He didn't want to dwell on this matter. Blood Demon, if I'm not wrong, you've awakened the destruction primordial spirit. Since things had already come to this point, Longao did not want to dawdle. Anyway, there was no enmity between him and the Blood Devil. As long as the Blood Devil was not stupid, he would definitely not fight him head-on. Just as expected. Hearing Longao's words, Blood Demon's face changed. He asked, "You know who I am?" Blood Demon was curious. He didn't know how Longao knew who he was. Was it Longmie? Starry Sky Destruction ruler. Seems like you know who Longmie and I are. Seeing Longao nod, Blood Demon cursed inwardly. According to their agreement, the 12 of them couldn't tell each other who they were. After all, once the 12 Starry Sky rulers reincarnated, their strength would be greatly reduced. If others knew who they were, it would be troublesome. But since it had already happened, there was no point in being angry. He sneered and said, "Longmie, since you're here, why don't you come out and meet me?" As the laughter rang out, Longmie and Shen Tong appeared at the same time. Looking at the two of them, Blood Demon was once again deeply shocked. If it was just Longmie alone, he definitely wouldn't have reacted at all. It was because of Long Mye that he didn't go astray back then. Strictly speaking, Long Mye was his benefactor. He should be grateful. However, the Starry Sky Ruler was born to kill. How could he lower his head and thank him? Indestructible tyrant body? Blood Demon didn't expect Xian Tong to appear. Blood Demon, I didn't expect us to meet so soon. Among the 3 Starry Sky Rulers, Longao didn't say anything, because he didn't have the right to interrupt when a powerhouse of this level spoke. The 2 of you are in Longao's body at the same time. Are you trying to kill him? Ha ha ha, Blood Demon, after so many years, you still can't suppress your desire to kill. Xian Tong snorted coldly. Blood Demon sneered and said, if you hadn't been so insistent, we wouldn't have died and entered the cycle of reincarnation. After so many years, I haven't been able to return to my peak. Even refining the Chaos Tablet wasn't enough. I was harmed by you. Do you have the face to say that? Long Mye and Xian Tong didn't refute. They looked at each other and sighed deeply. Blood Demon's words weren't wrong. Their original decision had been wrong. They had caused everyone to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Back then, the godly diviner predicted that the 12 of us would obtain a great opportunity. Who would have thought that in the end, we would all die? It would be a lie to say that they didn't regret it. The 3 Starry Sky Rulers present, the Starry Sky Ruler of Destruction, the Starry Sky Ruler of Reincarnation, and the indestructible tyrant body of Starry Sky Ruler, regretted it very much. They didn't want to be Starry Sky Rulers. Godly diviner, Long Mye, I believe you can sense that among the 12 of us, including Zhen Yi, only the godly diviner has recovered to the Starry Sky Ruler level. If the godly diviner had attacked us, even if he couldn't completely destroy us, we would never have been able to return to our peak. P.S. Chapter 4. Chapter 2142. Long Mye felt helpless. Both Long Mye and Xian Tong knew very well that Bloodseeker was telling the truth. If Master Clairvoyant attacked now, even the 11 of them together wouldn't be able to resist him. Back then, Master Clairvoyant's prophecy had caused everyone to die, but no one knew if Master Clairvoyant had died or not. The other 11 astral rulers all suspected that Master Clairvoyant hadn't died and entered the cycle of reincarnation. Deception. Master Clairvoyant was the biggest deception. So what if they knew? Master Clairvoyant was the only one who had recovered his astral ruler status. He was also the strongest person in the vast universe. Who would dare to cause trouble for him? Why aren't you talking? Bloodseeker mocked the 2 in front of him. Longao, who had been sitting on the side and hadn't spoken, wasn't very shocked. He had seen Master Clairvoyant's strength and Tao of divination with his own eyes. You could say that. Master Clairvoyant's Tao of divination was impossible to guard against. Bloodseeker, it's already happened. It's useless to regret it. Our top priority now is to think of a way to recover the astral ruler status. Long Mye is right. We should think about it at length. He snorted coldly. Bloodseeker said disdainfully, save it. I've decided to recover alone. As for your great opportunity, don't come to me again. I'm not interested in it at all. Bloodseeker had chosen to give up. Immortal Tyrant Body and Long Mye were helpless. Things had already come to this point. Were they really going to give up? They were unwilling. He was very unwilling to accept this. Bloodseeker, do you want to reconsider? Get out of my way. Bloodseeker stood up, looking impatient and disgusted. Longao, let me give you a piece of advice. You won't have a good ending if you follow them. They have the Chaos Tablet's protection and their primordial spirits are immortal. What about you? What do you have? Take care of yourself. With that, Bloodseeker turned and left. Long Mye's face was extremely gloomy as he watched Bloodseeker's figure disappear. Senior, this is the dragon seal. Take it back. He took the dragon seal out of his dantian. Longao had decided to give it up. Just as Bloodseeker had said, Dragon Annihilation and the others had the protection of the Chaos Tablets. It would be extremely difficult for them to die here. But he couldn't. What did he have? Longao didn't want to continue being a pawn. Long Mye was no fool. He instantly understood what Longao meant. Longao, you're playing with fire. Longao has his own choice. You better not make things difficult for him. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Shen Tong stood on Longao's side. His intentions were clear. Longmie's face grew darker and darker. He had never thought that Longao would play such a trick on him. Without Longao's help, how could he find the Samsara clan? One had to know that the Samsara clan was the key if he wanted to regain his status as the ruler of stars in the shortest time possible. He had to get the secret of the Samsara clan. If it was just Longao, Longmie certainly wouldn't take him seriously. But the situation was different now. Longao wasn't alone. There was another ruler of stars by his side. Was it worth it to start a war with Shen Tong for one Longao? It was definitely not worth it. Longao, you'll regret doing this in the future. He took back the dragon seal. I won't. Longao certainly wouldn't keep the dragon seal. No matter what, this divine artifact belonged to Longmie. If he kept it in his body, it would definitely cause a lot of trouble. Not only that, Longao gave the Samsara sword to Longmie. The Samsara clan had nothing to do with him. There was no need to take risks for Longmie. As for improving his strength, that was his own business. He didn't need to borrow Longmie's power. At this moment, the situation suddenly changed. The dragon seal in Longmie's hand began to fall. The originally small black seal directly turned golden with a trace of blood. Not only that, but the black dragon on the black seal also disappeared instantly. Master, save me, save me. Long Fu's miserable cry sounded. Before Longmie could react, the dragon seal had returned to Longao's hand. As for Long Fu, he had already died and turned into ashes. What happened? Longao was a little confused. He didn't know what was going on with the dragon seal. He could clearly feel that the dragon seal was completely different now. It had a blood connection with him, as if the dragon seal was a part of him. Longao, congratulations. The treasure automatically chooses its master. It seems that you are the most suitable master for the dragon seal. The dragon seal chose a new master. As the original weapon spirit, Long Fu was directly killed by the dragon seal. Not only Shen Tong, but even Longmie knew what had happened. The dragon seal chose to betray him and chose Longao. Humph, let's wait and see. Since Shen Tong was present, Longmie knew very well that he couldn't gain the slightest advantage. He turned and left. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. What are you doing? A dragon roar sounded. Long Qiong's huge body suddenly appeared. Big brother, your dragon seal doesn't have a weapon spirit. It can't exert the power it should have. He seemed to have guessed something. Of course, Longao wouldn't do that. He knew very well what it meant if Long Qiong became the weapon spirit of the dragon seal. However, Shen Tong said, Longao becoming the weapon spirit of the dragon seal may not be a bad thing. Maybe he can use the dragon seal's power to reach the peak in the future. Longao, who was about to continue to stop Shen Tong, nodded and said, okay. Shen Tong was a starry sky ruler. He must have his own opinion. If Long Qiong could really use the dragon seal to reach the peak of martial arts, it would indeed be a good thing. Long Qiong smiled and entered the dragon seal. His body wrapped around the dragon seal. As for his primordial spirit, it entered the dragon seal and became the weapon spirit of the dragon seal. However, the dragon seal was too damaged because it had sealed the blood demon back then. Even if it changed to a new weapon spirit, it wouldn't be easy to restore the dragon seal. Senior Shen Tong, thank you very much this time. Longao knew very well that if it weren't for Shen Tong's help, Longmie wouldn't have let the matter rest. Longmie was different now. Even he didn't have full confidence that he could defeat him. You're welcome. Longao, if I'm not wrong, you should be the reincarnation of Longmie. Although I don't know why you can exist independently, according to my guess, you have an inexplicable relationship with Longmie. You should be careful in the future. It seemed to be true. If even Shen Tong said so, there was no doubt that he was the reincarnation of Longmie. However, He didn't know why his primordial spirit wasn't taken over and he could exist independently. P.S. Chapter 5 sent here. Chapter 2143. He felt helpless. It seemed that he was in big trouble. Senior Xian Tong, are you leaving? Not now. Although Long Mier is afraid of me, he won't give up. If I choose to leave now, you won't be able to deal with him alone. Thank you. When Xian Tong returned to the black iron fragment, Longao couldn't wait any longer and immediately entered the dragon seal space. The current dragon seal was completely different. Previously, Long Fu didn't help him wholeheartedly. Everything he did was to serve Long Mier. But now the situation was completely different. Long Qiong, how do you feel? Brother, the dragon seal is more damaged than I thought. It only has 1/10 of its power. As expected. According to Long Fu, the dragon seal only had 1% of its power. It seemed that he was fooling him. 1/10, what it meant. Long Ao was looking forward to seeing how powerful the dragon seal was at its peak. In fact, it was easy to understand. Long Mier could use the power of the dragon seal to seal the blood demon. It was easy to imagine how powerful the dragon seal was. Brother, give me some time. I'll think of a way to restore the power of the dragon seal. Don't worry. Long Ao was very clear that in order to suppress the blood demon, Long Mier had already caused the dragon seal to suffer heavy losses. If he wanted to recover the power of the dragon seal in a short period of time, he knew that it was impossible. Brother, what are you going to do next? Find Xiling and Bai Ling. What else could he do? Now that he had fallen out with Long Mier, there was no need to continue looking for the reincarnation clan. Therefore, Long Ao was going to continue looking for Bai Ling and Xiling. Brother, why don't we find the reincarnation clan first? According to my merged memory, there seems to be a secret in the reincarnation clan that can help you improve your strength. And what? Long Ao was very curious. Could it be that Long Qiong had merged with the dragon seal and knew about the reincarnation clan? Long Qiong, we don't have the key to the reincarnation clan, the reincarnation sword. Even if we find the reincarnation clan, what can we do? Big brother, I do. Long Qiong found another samsara sword from somewhere. It was exactly the same. Huh? What was going on? Looking at the samsara sword in Long Qiong's hand, Long Ao was completely confused. He had just given the samsara sword to Long Mier, so what was going on with this samsara sword? Long Qiong, what's going on? Why do you have the samsara sword? Long Qiong mysteriously smiled and said, Big brother, you definitely won't be able to guess how I obtained this samsara sword. It's all because of Long Fu. Long Fu? What did he mean? Big brother, according to the information I got from fusing with the dragon seal, this Long Fu isn't simple. He was a super expert, second only to the Star Ruler. Back then, he was killed by draconic annihilation and his Yuan spirit became an artifact spirit. However, Long Fu wasn't satisfied with the status quo. He secretly made a copy of the reincarnation sword and participated in the self-sealing of the reincarnation clan. So that was it. It was hard to guard against a thief in one's own house. Even if he beat Long Mier to death, he wouldn't have thought that the one who betrayed him was Long Fu, the artifact spirit of the dragon seal. It seemed like Shi Yang was lucky because even Long Mier couldn't locate the reincarnation clan in a short time. If Shi Yang could be one step ahead of him, he could get the secret of the reincarnation clan. Long Qiong, can you locate the reincarnation clan? Yes, give me 3 days. Okay. During these 3 days, Long Ao didn't leave the dragon seal space. He just stayed and cultivated. After Long Qiong found the reincarnation clan's location, he immediately got up and went there. If he could use the secret of the reincarnation clan to enhance his cultivation base, it wouldn't be a bad thing. Since he had stepped into the vast universe, Long Ao found that competence was very important to a starry sky cultivator. Without competence, he couldn't move an inch, no matter where he went. Although he had successfully broken through to the starry sky territory ancestor realm, there was still a long way to go before he could reach the peak. Not to mention the others, even the starry sky boundary lord realm couldn't break through without tremendous power. The first thing he needed to do was to find a way to break through to the Starry Sky Territory Lord realm. Then, he could work hard to become the Starry Sky Boundary King. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Long Chong, have you located the Reincarnation Clan's location? Yes, but Big Brother, Long Chong looked like he wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. It made Longao curious as he didn't know what was going on. If you have something to say, just say it. Longao had a bad premonition. It seemed that the Reincarnation Clan's location wasn't simple. Long Chong's expression indicated that the Reincarnation Clan's location had changed again. Big Brother, through Long Fu's memories, I've found out that the Reincarnation Clan has moved to the Heaven-Devouring Realm. F***CK. Longao couldn't help but curse. The Reincarnation Clan really knew how to pick a place. Of all places, they had to choose the Heaven-Devouring Realm. Although Bu Jing had deterred the Heaven-Devouring Realm from attacking him for 3 years, would the Heaven-Devouring Realm still tolerate him if he sent himself to the Heaven-Devouring Realm? This was a big problem. Should he go or not? For a moment, Longao didn't know what to do. If he entered the Reincarnation Clan, he would have to break through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm and become a Starry Sky Boundary Lord. If he didn't enter the Reincarnation Clan because of the Heaven-Devouring Realm, he would need a long time to break through to the Starry Sky Territory Lord Realm. Big Brother, the secret of the Reincarnation Clan is very important to you and me. Not only can it help you break through, but it can also restore the Dragon Seal's strength. According to my calculations, if we can enter the Reincarnation Clan, the Dragon Seal can be restored to 1/5 of its original strength. 1/5 of its original strength. What kind of concept was that? Longao knew that if the Dragon Seal could be restored to 1/5 of its original strength, it would be a great help to him. At that time, he wouldn't have to be afraid of the Heaven-Devouring Realm anymore. Without danger, how could there be an opportunity? Longao gritted his teeth and said, Long Chong, if that's the case, let's go to the Heaven-Devouring Realm. This time, we have to be careful. Oh right, when I find Bai Ling and Xiling, I will help you find out about your origin. Okay. Long Chong didn't have any objections. In his opinion, Longao was in charge of everything. If Longao wanted to go east, he would go east. If Longao wanted to go west, he would go east. Not to mention the Heaven-Devouring Empire, he wouldn't even be able to climb a mountain of blades or dive into a sea of flames. Longao and Long Chong didn't waste any time and prepared to use the teleportation formation in the Grand Cloud Empire to head to the Heaven-Devouring Realm. Author's note: the 6th chapter has been delivered. Seeing that there are so many tickets and rewards, my new book collection has skyrocketed. Thank you for your support. Little 9 will continue to work hard. Chapter 2144. Heaven-Devouring Region. Heaven-Devouring Realm. Longao had just returned, but Xiling and Bai Ling had already left, and the two sides clashed. Longao stepped into the Heaven-Devouring Realm carefully. His goal was to find the Reincarnation Tribe, not to deal with the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Because of the 3-year agreement with Bu Jing, as long as Longao did not provoke the Heaven-Devouring Empire, the Heaven-Devouring Empire would not take the initiative to deal with him. But even so, to be safe, Longao disguised himself before entering the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Long Chong, where is the entrance to the Reincarnation Tribe? Now that they were in the Heaven-Devouring Realm, the most important thing now was to find the entrance to the Reincarnation Tribe. Longao did not know when Long Mie would find the Reincarnation Tribe. He had to deal with the Reincarnation Tribe first. Big Brother, we are really unlucky. According to my senses, the Reincarnation Tribe should be under the Heaven-Devouring Empire's base. They were in big trouble. His worst fears came true. Longao was afraid that the entrance to the Reincarnation Tribe would be in the Heaven-Devouring Empire's base. Indeed, it was there. There was no other way. Since things had come to this, he could only take it one step at a time. Longao did not enter the Heaven-Devouring Empire recklessly. He had to think of a foolproof plan. Left with no other choice, Longao decided to look for his master, Wn Tong, in the courtyard. Because Yi Ji Mai had bought the courtyard, Even if the three of them left, it would still belong to Yi Ji Mai. Master, you're here. Looking at his disciple, Wn Tong was shocked. He did not expect Longao to come to the heaven-devouring realm at this time. Although the heaven-devouring empire will not deal with you for 3 years because of me, you shouldn't have come. He was worried. How could Longao not know about his master's worries? Wan Tong smiled. Longao said with a smile, Master, I came here this time mainly because of a very important matter. This matter is very important to me. If I can succeed, my cultivation might be able to break through. Breakthrough? Wn Tong understood Longao's cultivation base well. He had successfully reached the territory ancestor realm. If he continued to break through, he could become the territory master of Starry Sky. Wn Tong didn't think as much as Bu Jing. In Wn Tong's eyes, he really regarded Longao as his own disciple. Speak. Master, I wish to enter the heaven-devouring empire. Don't worry, I'm here to achieve a breakthrough. I'm not here to make an enemy out of the heaven-devouring empire. He wanted to make his stance clear so that his master wouldn't worry about him. That's easy. Can you tell me what happened? Longao did not hide anything from his master. He gave him a rough account of his return to the Lun clan. He was very shocked. Of course, Wn Tong knew what reincarnation meant. He said worriedly, Master will accompany you. Master, there's no need. I'm confident that I'll be able to make it out alive. Master, help me keep watch outside and wait for me to leave. Don't let others discover me. Wan Tong nodded in agreement. He knew how serious the matter was. Wan Tong's idea was simple. With his status, it was easy for him to bring a disciple into the heaven-devouring empire. After all, no one would suspect him. Plus, there were too many disciples in the heaven-devouring empire, so no one would suspect him. Moreover, no one would expect Longao to return to the heaven-devouring realm. Longao followed his master and entered the heaven-devouring empire without any interrogations. According to Long Qiong, Longao asked his master to bring him to the entrance of the reincarnation clan. It was none other than the Valley of 10,000 Swords. This was Longao's second time entering the Valley of 10,000 Swords. Master, what about 10,000 Swords? 10,000 Swords was ultimately a member of the heaven-devouring empire. He wouldn't help him. Even if he didn't do anything to him, it would be troublesome if news of his reincarnation got out. It would be fine if others knew about it. However, if Longmie knew about it, Longao knew what it meant. With his current strength, it would be troublesome if he angered Longmie. Therefore, he had to keep it a secret. No one could know about it. As for his master, Longao trusted him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have told him about his reincarnation. Leave it to me. Wn Tong led Longao into the Valley of 10,000 Swords. After 100 steps, they met Wan Jian. As the master of the Valley of 10,000 Swords, Longao knew that he couldn't hide it. Rather than that, he might as well not hide it. It would be troublesome if there were any misunderstandings. Senior Wan Jian. Wan Jian knew about the grudge between Longao and the heaven-devouring empire. He was curious as to why Longao would come. Could it be that Longao didn't fear the heaven-devouring empire? Or was it that he didn't put the heaven-devouring empire in his eyes? Longao, why did you come to the Valley of 10,000 Swords? Wan Jian's attitude was clear. He wouldn't help Longao or attack Longao. However, he couldn't let the heaven-devouring empire know about it. Otherwise, how could he explain it to the heaven-devouring empire? Senior Wan Jian, I brought Aoa here to cultivate in the Valley of 10,000 Swords. Aoa's cultivation base has reached a bottleneck. I hope he can break through here. Wan Tong had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Sector Lord Realm. As for Longao, he was a Starry Sky territory ancestor. Of course, Wan Jian knew what it meant if Longao continued to break through. In other words, the stronger Longao's cultivation base was, the greater the threat to the heaven-devouring empire. It wasn't a good thing. Whatever. I don't know about it. Wan Tong turned and left. After a while, he disappeared without a trace. Done. Ao, where is the entrance to the heaven-devouring empire? Longao brought Wn Tong to the deepest part of the Valley of 10,000 Swords. With Wn Gen's pass, no one would disturb them. Master, please guard this place for me. Senior Wn Gen might appear at any time. I hope you can help me. Okay, leave this place to me. Take care. Got it. Longao took out the reincarnation sword from the dragon seal space. The reincarnation sword was the key to opening the heaven-devouring empire. His primordial spirit entered the reincarnation sword. After a few minutes, a mysterious energy was transmitted to the reincarnation sword. Before Longao could react, it disappeared without a trace. Wn Tong sighed deeply and said helplessly, Ao, this is all I can do for you. I hope you can escape this calamity. Wn Tong didn't leave, because he was very clear about what it would mean if the matter of Lun returning to the clan was leaked out. This matter absolutely couldn't be leaked out, including his master. Because of this, Wn Tong sat on the ground and created a false impression for Wn Tong, thinking that Longao was only here to cultivate. Author's note, Chapter 7 delivered. Chapter 2145. Reincarnation Plane. As soon as he stepped in, Longao was on high alert. No matter what, the Reincarnation Clan was a super existence that was on par with the Death Clan. If it wasn't for the rise of Long Mie, the Reincarnation Clan wouldn't have come to this stage. Success and failure were due to Long Mie. Stepping into the Reincarnation Plane, Longao was curious because there was no life in the plane. It was desolate everywhere. What the hell happened? Long Chong, what can you sense? Long Chong was no longer the same as before. After becoming the weapon spirit of the Dragon Seal, Long Chong and the Dragon Seal had completely merged. Brother, I can't sense anything now. He shrugged his shoulders helplessly. Since things had come to this, he could only take one step at a time. Longao continued to rush. With his speed, it would only take a few hours for him to travel across the entire mainland. There's not a single living being. Longao was completely stunned because there wasn't a single person or spiritual beast in the entire reincarnation plane. It was like an empty shell. Is this the reincarnation clan? Long Chong, did you sense it correctly? Is this the reincarnation plane or not? Longao even suspected if this was the reincarnation plane or the territory of the reincarnation clan. Brother, this is indeed the reincarnation plane. I'm sure I didn't sense it wrongly. After this period of sensing, I already know the reason. What's the reason? Longao couldn't wait to ask. Lin Fan had entered the reincarnation clan this time to find the secret technique and break through his cultivation base. But looking at the current situation, things were not looking good. No matter what, there was no one here. To him, this was not a good thing. Brother, someone must have done this on purpose. What did that mean? Brother, Long Mie's reincarnation clan rose in the reincarnation clan. However, they were annihilated by other forces and the reincarnation clan sealed themselves. As for Long Mie, he didn't know about this. Of course, Longao knew about this. Could there be something fishy about the reincarnation clan? Under normal circumstances, after returning to the Lun clan and sealing themselves, after so many years of recuperation, even if they can't return to their peak, they should be able to recover at least a few % of their strength. Long Chong, don't keep me in suspense. What happened? Intuition told Longao that the Lun clan must have met with trouble. To be able to destroy a reincarnation clan without anyone noticing, it was obvious how powerful the other party was. Big brother, according to my guess, someone must have entered the reincarnation clan and destroyed it. Who was it? Longao didn't ask, because he knew very well that even Long Chong didn't know who it was. It was very depressing. Originally, he thought that after entering the reincarnation clan, his cultivation would be able to break through and reach the Starry Sky Sector Lord. But what was the result? The entire Lun clan had been destroyed. What should he do? Could it be that he would choose to leave? He was unwilling to accept this. He was very unwilling to accept this. He had risked his life to enter the heaven-devouring empire, only to be met with such an outcome. It would be unrealistic to say that he wasn't depressed. Big brother, I know what you're thinking. Even though the Lun clan has been destroyed, I still have a way for you to obtain the strength of the Lun clan. If nothing goes wrong, you should be able to make a breakthrough in your cultivation. Lin Fan was overjoyed. Long Chong, what should I do now? Big brother, follow me. Longao followed Long Chong's instructions and soon arrived at the base of the Lun clan. It was a huge valley surrounded by mountains. It was very strange. Big brother, this should be the base of the Lun clan. The strength you need should be in the valley. However, you still have to be careful. I feel that something is wrong here. To be able to destroy the Lun clan without a sound, the strength of the other party must be unimaginable. Lin Fan nodded. Regarding Long Chong's worries, Long Ao understood Long Chong's worries. As the saying goes, it is better to be safe than sorry. Just like what Long Chong said, to be able to destroy the Lun clan without a sound, the strength of the other party must be unimaginable. More importantly, who could enter the Lun clan? After all, the key to the Lun clan was in his hands and Long Mie's hands. Could it be Long Mie? That was unlikely. Long Mie wouldn't do such a thing. Lin Fan entered the valley. Even if the valley was filled with danger, he had to enter. This time, he stepped into the reincarnation plane mainly for the strength of the Lun clan. If he couldn't obtain the strength of the Lun clan, wouldn't he have come in vain? There was no movement in the valley. The moment Long Ao stepped into the valley, he was overjoyed. This was because he could clearly sense how vast the energy in the valley was. If he could borrow this energy to break through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord Realm, it shouldn't be a problem. Success or failure depended on this. Without wasting any time, Long Ao immediately sat on the ground and began to devour the energy around him. As for whether he could break through to the Starry Sky Realm King Realm by relying on this energy, it was still unknown. No matter what, he had to break through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord Realm first. Madly devouring. Just like that, Long Ao didn't care about anything else. He began to devour the energy and strive to break through in the shortest time possible. At the peak of the valley, a figure stood there quietly, watching Long Ao sitting on the ground and cultivating. He sneered. From the beginning to the end, this person didn't make a move. He just watched quietly. Time passed bit by bit. After an unknown period of time, Long Ao opened his eyes and sighed deeply. After devouring for an entire month, his cultivation had barely broken through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord Realm. If he wanted to continue to break through to the so-called Starry Sky Realm King Realm, even if he continued to devour, it was impossible. The energy in the valley seemed to be frozen. As time passed, the energy he could devour was getting weaker and weaker. What was going on? Why was his energy getting weaker and weaker? Long Ao was very curious. He didn't know what was going on. He stood up and looked around. His intuition told him that there was something fishy about this place. Could there be someone here? One had to know that the entire Lun clan had been destroyed. Until now, he still didn't know who did it. In any case, he had a bad premonition. Since you've been here for so long, why didn't you greet me? Isn't that a little too unkind? There was no sound. Could it be that his intuition was wrong? Logically speaking, this shouldn't be the case. Long Ao had always believed in his intuition. If there was no one here, why would his devouring power become weaker and weaker? It was as if someone was controlling him. Precisely because of this, Long Ao was almost certain that there was someone here. This person was most likely the super expert who destroyed the reincarnation clan. It seemed like he was in big trouble this time. No matter what, the other party was in the dark while he was out in the open. Author's note: the 8th chapter has been delivered. There were too many new chapters today, so I didn't have time to make up for the remaining 4 chapters. I'll have time tomorrow. Chapter 2146. Cowardly Rat. Just as Long Ao was about to leave, a terrifying lightning aura enveloped him. Lightning bolts as thick as an arm struck down. The lightning attacks were densely packed. He was startled. Long Ao could clearly feel the terrifying power of the lightning bolts. He didn't dare to be careless. Annihilation palm, countless palm shadows flashed. The moment the palm shadows and the lightning bolts collided, Longao was instantly knocked down. He flipped over and his expression changed. What terrifying power! Samsara triple strike, the 10th, 11th, and 12th move of the 36 Samsara swords. Ever since he broke through to the Starry Sky World Lord, Longao was able to use the 10th, 11th, and 12th move consecutively. The three moves were linked, named Samsara triple strike. He didn't use the Samsara sword. Longao had already decided that no matter what happened in the future, he wouldn't use the Samsara sword casually. If Longmye knew that he stepped into the Samsara clan, the consequences would be obvious. That was the case. Longao was prepared to only use his finger as a sword. Although the power was slightly weaker, it wasn't much different. Samsara triple strike, the terrifying Samsara sword chi was released, fiercely blocking the lightning attacks. A surprised voice was heard. The lightning attack stopped abruptly, and a figure appeared instantly, smiling as he looked at Longao. Kid, not bad. You were able to block my attacks. Although he couldn't sense the other party's true strength, Longao knew that the other party was at least a titled world king or even a Starry Sky World emperor. Longao knew that even if he used 2 Starry Sky Corp slaves, he might not be the other party's match. Who are you? And who are you? Longao. Longao didn't hide anything and answered truthfully. He could clearly sense that the other party didn't have any killing intent towards him. Otherwise, the other party wouldn't have stopped. With his strength, he couldn't deal with it. You're from the Samsara clan? No. Looking at the mysterious person in front of him, Longao suspected that the destruction of the Lun clan had something to do with this person. If that was the case, then it was hard to imagine how powerful the other party was. After all, the strength of the Lun clan was there for all to see. Looks like you've already guessed my identity. The black-clothed man chuckled. His laughter was very strange and terrifying. Even Longao shuddered when he saw the other party's laughter. Astral Lightning Ruler. Although he didn't want to admit it, Longao had already guessed the other party's identity. Among the 12 rulers of Starsky, the Lightning Ruler controlled the power of lightning. The power of thunder and lightning released by the other party had reached its peak state. Longao found it hard to imagine that other than the thunder and lightning Starry Sky ruler, there was no one else in the vast starry sky who could possess such a powerful thunder and lightning power. Ha ha ha, kid, you're really smart. That's right, I'm the ruler of the Thunderbolt Starry Sky. You don't have to make wild guesses. I was the one who destroyed the Lun clan. However, this matter cannot be leaked out. What do you think I will do? You won't kill me. You're that confident. Longao smiled but didn't say anything. As Longao had guessed, the astral lightning Starry Sky ruler didn't intend to kill him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stopped. You're the reincarnation of Longmye? Longao wasn't surprised at all. As the astral lightning Starry Sky ruler, it wasn't surprising that the other party knew that he was the reincarnation of Longmye. Yes. He nodded with a smile. Luomu couldn't figure it out. Under normal circumstances, since you're the reincarnation of Longmye, you shouldn't exist in this world. Or rather, Longmye shouldn't exist in this world. Your situation is very special. I really can't figure out why Longmye would let you go. Longao knew very well what Luomu meant. The fact that Lin Fan could exist independently was a miracle in itself. To the Dragon Destroyer, Lin Fan was an anomaly. If Lin Fan had a great opportunity, he might even be able to refine the reincarnation Chaos Tablet and replace it. Because of this, Longao was very worried. He knew that Longmye wouldn't let him go. Who knew when he would deal with him? Longao, why don't you and I make a deal? Tell me. Longao didn't know what Luomu meant. With Luomu's status and strength, there was no need for him to make a deal with him. They weren't on the same level. What did Luomu mean? Longao, we'll talk about this later. You're very weak now. Even if I want to ask for your help, you're not qualified. However, I have confidence in you. Longao didn't continue asking because he knew what Luomu meant. Since this was the case, Why bother asking? If Luo Mu was willing to tell him, then even if he didn't ask, he believed that Luo Mu would tell him. If Luo Mu wasn't willing to tell him, then no matter how much he asked, he believed that Luo Mu wouldn't tell him. Why bother wasting time? However, there was one thing that Longao agreed with Luo Mu. No matter where one went, no matter what happened, without strength it would be difficult to move forward. Thus, in this situation, he had to increase his strength as quickly as possible. This was the most urgent matter. Okay. In this situation, he didn't have any other choice. Longao knew that if he refused, then it would be much more difficult for him to leave the samsara plane. That strength just now, was it controlled by you? Longao was helpless. If he could continue devouring just now, then he could break through to the Starry Sky World King Realm and then to the titled World King Realm. Unfortunately, the strength was controlled by Luo Mu and he couldn't continue devouring. Luo Mu smiled and said, Longao, don't think that the strength here can be devoured without restraint. You've already devoured enough and your cultivation has broken through to the Starry Sky World King Realm. If you continue to devour, I can tell you clearly that you will definitely be devoured by the strength here and your body will explode. Longao was shocked. He never imagined that things would turn out like this. It seemed that he should thank Luo Mu. If Luo Mu hadn't stopped him in time, he believed that he would have already died. If that was really the case, then he felt a lingering fear. Many thanks. Leave quickly. Before Longao could react, Luo Mu's body emitted a powerful force of thunder and lightning that instantly enveloped him. Not long after, Long Mie's figure quickly arrived. Long Mie's expression was very ugly because he couldn't figure out why the Samsara family was destroyed. Who was the culprit? P.S. My wife has a stomach flu this morning and has just returned from the hospital. Little Nine will work hard to update 2 chapters first. I still have to take care of my wife at night. When my wife goes to bed, Little Nine will work overtime to see if I can continue writing. Everyone, please forgive me. The health of a family member is the most important. Chapter 2147. Luo Mu? Luo Mu didn't hide. He waited openly for Long Mie. The 2 rulers of Star exchanged glances. In an instant, Long Mie knew what had happened. Luo Mu, did you destroy the Lun clan? Anger. Long Mie had never imagined that Luo Mu would destroy the Lun clan. He was still 1 step behind. If the secret disappeared, wouldn't all his previous efforts be in vain? Luo Mu smiled and said, Long Mie, you should know my personality. If I did this, I wouldn't have stayed to wait for you. What do you think? It shouldn't be Luo Mu. Long Mie knew it couldn't be Luo Mu. Otherwise, Luo Mu wouldn't have stayed. If it wasn't Luo Mu, who could it be? The disappearance of the Lun clan for no reason was as if they had vanished from the face of the earth. It was a little inconceivable. What was going on? Long Mie's intuition told him that it wasn't that simple. Goodbye. Long Mie was very anxious. He immediately headed for the depths of the valley. He didn't care whether the Lun clan was destroyed or not. He was only worried about one thing, and that was the thing he'd left behind. Nothing must happen to it. Longao, remember our agreement. Longao chose to leave. As for Luo Mu, he also headed for the depths of the valley. When the 3 of them were gone, a figure appeared at the peak of the valley. The figure flickered and soon disappeared from sight. After leaving the Lun clan, Longao was more or less afraid. This time, he'd run into a lightning ruler of Starry Sky for no reason. It had almost disrupted his plan. As more and more rulers of Starry Sky showed up, Longao knew that things were getting more and more complicated. For some reason, these rulers of Starry Sky kept circling around him. He didn't know what was going on. When had his charm become so terrifying? Aoa, how are you? For a whole month, WN Jian had come several times, but WN Tong had dealt with him. It would be unrealistic to say that he wasn't worried. Master, I'm fine. WN Tong could clearly sense that his disciple had broken through from territory ancestor of Starry Sky to sector lord of Starry Sky in just 1 month. He was very surprised. It seemed that Aoa had succeeded. As for Longao, before Wn Tong could ask, he had already roughly told him about Lun's return to the clan. As for the two starry sky rulers, he did not mention a word. Longao knew what it meant to be a starry sky ruler. If his master knew about it, he would be terrified. Aoa, what are you going to do next? 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. For a starry sky cultivator, 3 years was just a passing cloud. 3 years later, the heaven-devouring empire would go all out. At that time, Aoa might not be able to stand against them. Wn Tong was very worried. How could Longao not know about his master's worries? Thinking about it, he shrugged helplessly and said, "Master, the grudge between me and the heaven-devouring empire has to be resolved. I'm sure you know that I've already established the dragon sect. 3 years later, I'll establish the Longao Empire. At that time, I'll attack the heaven-devouring empire." The establishment of the empire was no longer a secret. If it was someone else who said it, Wn Tong would definitely scoff and not take it seriously. After all, establishing an empire wasn't a game. It wasn't something that could be done just by talking about it. In order to establish an empire, one had to have a titled world king and rule over thousands of realms. That was the most difficult thing. Otherwise, wouldn't anyone be able to establish an empire? But for some reason, Wn Tong didn't doubt Longao's words. It was as if he could really do it. Aoa, be careful. Don't act recklessly. There's one more thing that I forgot to tell you. Not long ago, Fang Shan and Fang Xia left the empire and went to the Grand Cloud Realm to look for you. Fang Shan? Fang Xia? If Feng Xiu wasn't around, Longao wouldn't dare to be careless and would immediately return to the Grand Cloud Realm. However, the situation was different now. With Feng Xiu in the Soaring Dragon Realm, even if Fang Shan and Fang Xia joined forces, they wouldn't be able to gain any benefits. Thinking of this, Longao said indifferently, "Master, let Fang Shan and Fang Xia go. This time, my cultivation has successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord. Next, I will work hard towards the Starry Sky Realm King." To break through from the Starry Sky Realm Lord to the Starry Sky Realm King, the power needed was even more terrifying. However, Longao was very confident because his luck was really good. In such a short time, he had already broken through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord. If it was in the past, this was absolutely unimaginable. When he first stepped into the vast starry sky, he was only an 8th level cultivator. How long had it been? His cultivation speed was already very fast. He believed that even the geniuses of the vast starry sky couldn't match his cultivation speed. However, even so, it was still far from enough. Longao now knew that not to mention the Starry Sky Ruler, just above the titled World King, there was the Starry Sky Realm Emperor and the titled World Emperor. He still had a long way to go. He couldn't waste a moment. "Are you going to cultivate here?" "Yes, I hope Master can protect me." "No problem." Wn Tong naturally didn't have any problems. He was sincerely looking out for Longao. Therefore, the stronger Longao was, the happier he would be. As for the heaven-devouring empire, Wn Tong had already thought of the consequences when he accepted Longao as his disciple. Even if the heaven-devouring empire broke off relations with him, he wouldn't hesitate. Just like that. Under Wn Tong's protection, Longao immediately found a safe place and sat down. If Long Mie came out from the entrance and met him, he would definitely think that he had entered the Reincarnation Clan. If he was blamed for the destruction of the Reincarnation Clan, wouldn't he have to suffer in silence? The 10,000 Swords Valley was filled with countless sword chi. However, as long as the 10,000 swords didn't attack, they wouldn't take the initiative to attack Longao. In other words, Longao could safely cultivate here. Unless the 10,000 swords and Wn Tong leaked the news, the heaven-devouring empire wouldn't know about it. Before Longao started cultivating, he had already asked the 10,000 swords. He had already decided to try devouring the sword chi in the 10,000 Swords Valley to see if he could break through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord and become a Starry Sky Realm King. If that was the case, then this trip wouldn't be in vain. Longao was very careful as he devoured the sword chi. He didn't dare to guarantee that there wouldn't be any backlash after devouring the sword chi. Chapter 2148. Longao had never walked the path of sword Dao. The reason why he chose to devour sword chi was because he hoped to find a new path. It was a beautiful thought, but it was difficult to do it. No matter what, Longao had never properly cultivated the path of sword Dao. It was not an easy thing to forcefully devour the sword chi. You failed again? Wan Tong was surprised. Aoer's cultivation speed was very fast. In just 1 month, he had broken through from Starry Sky Territory Ancestor to Starry Sky Boundary Lord. But Aoer wanted to break through from Starry Sky Boundary Lord to Starry Sky Boundary King in the shortest time possible. Countless Starry Sky Boundary Lords were all stuck at this stage. It was not easy for a Starry Sky Boundary Lord to break through to Starry Sky Boundary King. Wan Tong shrugged helplessly. Longao looked at his master in front of him and said helplessly, "Master, it seems that I have thought of things too simply. Even if I devour sword chi, it won't help much, let alone break through to Starry Sky Boundary King." Wan Tong seemed to have guessed the result. He was not surprised. Aoer, your cultivation speed is very fast. Don't be too stubborn. Otherwise, not only will it not benefit you, but it will also affect your state of mind and prevent you from breaking through. His words woke him up from his dream. Was he being too stubborn? Longao knew that as he stepped into the vast starry sky for a long time, he found that strength was too important to him. Without strength, it was difficult to move forward. Without strength, he would always be a chess piece. Without strength, he would only be a joke. Therefore, he had to obtain strength. This way, he would be more and more stubborn. Was it good to be too stubborn? Not necessarily. Master, I understand. Aoer, I know your situation, but I still have to say the same thing. Your cultivation speed is extremely fast. If you continue at this speed, I believe that in less than 100 years you will definitely become a titled world king. At that time, even stepping into the legendary Starry Sky World Emperor isn't impossible. 100 years. 100 years was nothing to a Starry Sky cultivator. It would pass in the blink of an eye. But to Longao, 100 years was too long. Could he really wait? Not to mention the heaven-devouring empire, Longao was not sure if Longmye would be able to regain his Starry Sky sovereign realm in 100 years. What if Longmye reached his peak? He was almost certain that once Longmye regained his Starry Sky sovereign realm, he would be the first person to deal with. He had always been the reincarnation of Longmye, but he could exist independently. This was undoubtedly an invisible threat to Longmye. In order to eliminate the threat, Dragonslayer would definitely attack him. At this moment, Wan Jian walked over with a solemn expression. Whether it was Longao or Wan Tong, both of them were very curious when they saw Wan Jian's grave expression. Could it be that something had happened? Wan Jian helplessly nodded and said, "Wan Tong." Wan Tong had a bad premonition. He asked impatiently, "Senior 10,000 swords, what happened?" Hearing Wan Jian's words, Longao and Wan Tong were completely stupefied. The two of them had never imagined that Bu Jing would die. Who was Bu Jing? Not only was Bu Jing a titled world king, but he was also a titled world king array master. Such a superpowerhouse. Who in the vast universe could possibly destroy such a superpowerhouse? Unless it was a Starry Sky World Emperor or a titled World Emperor. But was it possible? Senior Wan Jian, what is going on? Wan Tong was very calm. He was not as angry as he had imagined. He knew very well that with his master's strength and array skills, he was almost invincible among Starry Sky World Emperors. Wan Jian looked at Longao, who was at the side, and once again looked like he wanted to say something but hesitated. "Senior Wan Jian, are you telling me that I killed Senior Bu Jing?" His intuition told him that Wan Jian's look just now contained a clear meaning. Wan Jian was obviously telling him that he killed Bu Jing. Was that possible? Impossible. This is definitely not Aoer's doing. Wan Tong knew what Wan Jian meant. He did not even think about it because Aoa had always been by his side. How could Aoa kill his master? Not only that, Aoa's strength was obvious. With his master's strength, even if Aoa wanted to, it was impossible for him to succeed. It was simply impossible. It was a fantasy. I also know that this is not possible, but it is indeed Longao's doing. Wan Jian also knew that this matter had nothing to do with Longao. Others might not know, but how could he not know? As the master of Wan Jian Valley, he knew best whether Longao had left. In this 1 month, Longao had never left. If that was the case, how could Longao kill Bu Jing? Wan Jian was also very clear about the difference in strength between Longao and Bu Jing. Not to mention one Longao, even 10,000 Longaos would not be able to kill Bu Jing. It was simply unbelievable. Longao was calmer than Wan Tong because he knew that without sufficient evidence, Wan Jian would not be so sure. There must be something fishy going on. He had to ask first. Senior Wan Jian, what is going on? No matter how unwilling Wan Jian was to believe it, what had happened earlier was indeed a little inconceivable. Left with no other choice, Wan Jian recounted the events that had happened earlier. The matter was like this. A person who looked exactly like Longao. In the eyes of outsiders, this person was Longao. Only Longao, Wan Jian and Wan Tong knew that this person was not him or Longao. Longao's strength had greatly increased from before. He directly challenged Bu Jing. Many people were not optimistic about this battle. Without exception, no one was optimistic about Longao. They thought that Longao's challenge to Bu Jing was simply a dead end. Bu Jing was also surprised. He did not know what Longao's intention was. Why did he suddenly challenge him? Although he was shocked, since Longao had challenged him, he would lose face if he did not accept the challenge. In this way, the battle between Bu Jing and Longao was earth-shattering. Just when everyone thought that Bu Jing would be able to easily kill Longao, the situation suddenly changed. The battle was reversed in an instant. He didn't even give Bu Jing a chance to arrange the formation. Longao's speed was too fast. He killed Bu Jing directly, which shocked the sky-devouring realm and the sky-devouring domain. No one could imagine that Longao's strength would soar to such a level in just a few months. Before, he didn't have the slightest strength to fight back in front of Bu Jing, but now, he could kill Bu Jing in an instant. P.S. The first chapter is here. Chapter 2149. After hearing this, the two were shocked to the extreme. Was it possible to kill Bu Jing in an instant? Not to mention others, even Longao didn't believe he could do it. Bu Jing wasn't just a titled world king, he was also a titled world king array master. Longao knew his limits. Not to mention himself, even if he used the 2 Starry Sky Corps slaves, he still wouldn't be Bu Jing's opponent. Senior 10,000 Swords, is the person you saw really the same as me? Yes, I can't be wrong. Longao already knew what was going on. There was no doubt that someone was trying to frame him. Who was it? Others might not know, but how could Longao not know? The person looked exactly the same as him. Even the aura was almost the same. Except for one person, how many people in the vast starry sky could do it? The mysterious youth was Longmire. This was a big problem. Longmire wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife. Because of the undying tyrant body and the starry sky ruler, Longmire knew it wouldn't be easy to kill him. In Longmire's opinion, it wasn't worth it to fall out with Shen Tong for him. This move was ruthless enough. Longao, do you know what's going on? I don't. Longao definitely wouldn't say anything about the 2 starry sky rulers. Wan Tong thought for a moment and said, Senior 10,000 Swords, it's very simple. It's nothing more than someone trying to frame you. Yes, I think so too. Wan Tong was still calm. Wan Tong and 10,000 Swords had already figured out what was going on. There was no doubt that someone wanted to frame Longao and kill him with a borrowed knife. What kind of super powerhouse did Longao provoke? Whether it was Wan Tong or 10,000 Swords, They were very afraid of the other party's strength. Bu Jing's strength was there for all to see. Among the titled world kings, no one was Bu Jing's opponent. It could be said that under the starry sky world emperor, Bu Jing was an invincible existence. Even so, Bu Jing was still killed instantly. What did this mean? It was obvious that someone who could kill Bu Jing in an instant was undoubtedly powerful. If he wasn't a titled world emperor, he was a starry sky world emperor. How did Longao provoke such a legendary existence? Longao, looks like you're in big trouble this time. WN Tong's face was very gloomy, as ugly as it could get. I believe that you have already guessed that the person who instantly killed our master this time is not simple. It seems that it is the starry sky world emperor. Of course, Longao knew who it was. However, he did not expect that Long Mie's cultivation had already recovered to the starry sky world emperor. This was indeed very troublesome. The heaven-devouring empire was going to keep their promise even after Bu Jing's death. Would he still abide by the 3-year agreement? Longao was certain that the sky-devouring empire would come after him after Bu Jing's death. There was no doubt about it. Longao, the empire has begun to take action. They have united the entire devouring realm and are heading towards your soaring dragon realm. Master, Senior Myriad Swords, I'll take my leave first. Master will accompany you. Longao shook his head. This matter had already reached a point of no return. No one would believe that he was not the one who killed Bu Jing. Under such circumstances, dragging his master down with him would only implicate his master. Longao would definitely not implicate WAN Tong. Master, I can handle it. You stay here and cultivate. When I need your help, I will come and look for you. Looking at his disciple in front of him, WN Tong knew that with his strength, he would not be able to help at all. It would be better for him to stay here and cultivate. He would strive to break through to the starry sky world king realm. This way, he would be able to help Longao to the greatest extent. Be careful. Longao did not continue speaking. He turned around and left. In a short while, he had already disappeared without a trace. There was no need to say much about the heaven-devouring empire's strength. With the strength of the soaring dragon realm, how could they withstand the attack of the heaven-devouring empire? He had to rush back to the soaring dragon realm as soon as possible. Looking at the disappearing figure, WN Jian said enviously, WN Tong, you have a good disciple. Senior WN Jian, is there any way to break through to the starry sky world king realm in the shortest time possible? WAN Jian naturally knew what WAN Tong meant. Once WN Tong's cultivation broke through to the starry sky world king realm, he would become a starry sky world king array master. In that case, WN Tong would become an extremely terrifying existence. WN Jian was also a starry sky world king, but he had not broken through to the starry sky world king realm. After thinking for a moment, WN Jian said, WN Tong, if you are not afraid of death, we can work together to break through. If we succeed, we will both break through to the starry sky world king realm within a month. However, I still have to tell you that this method is extremely dangerous. The success rate is only 1%. For so many years, I have not had a choice. I have no objections. I hope Senior WAN Jian can help me. All right. If we are lucky enough to break through to the starry sky world king realm, I will accompany you to the soaring dragon realm. WAN Tong was a little stunned. He never thought that Senior WN Jian would make such a choice. Senior WN Jian, you want to leave the heaven-devouring empire? WN Tong knew that WN Jian would have to leave the heaven-devouring empire if he entered the soaring dragon realm. He knew what this meant for WN Jian. Was Senior WN Jian really willing to do this? He didn't seem to believe it. After all, no one would make such a choice. WN Jian smiled and said, you might not believe it, but ever since I met Longao, I had a premonition that he is not simple. He will definitely rise up in the future. You and I both know the situation in the heaven-devouring empire. Rather than that, it is better to leave. Who knows, we might be able to get out of this predicament by following Longao. Even so, WN Tong still didn't believe it. However, he still said, I thank Senior WN Jen on behalf of AOR. There is no time to lose. Let us begin immediately. All right. WN Jen and WN Tong didn't hesitate. They immediately headed towards the depths of the Valley of 10,000 Swords. Not long after the two disappeared, Luo Mu, the so-called ruler of the lightning starry sky, appeared out of nowhere. He sneered and muttered to himself, it seems like Long Mie is a little impatient. Long Ao must not die. This time, we will have to rely on him. Luo Mu's lips curled into a cold smile. He didn't linger in the Valley of 10,000 Swords and disappeared in a flash. After leaving the Valley of 10,000 Swords, Long Ao left cautiously. It wasn't that he was afraid of the heaven-devouring empire. Since things had already progressed to this stage, there was no need for him to be afraid of the heaven-devouring empire. Long Ao did this because he didn't want to implicate his master and Wan Zhen. If the heaven-devouring empire knew that he had left the Valley of 10,000 Swords, they would definitely come after his master and Wan Zhen. Author's note, copy of the second chapter. Chapter 2150. Bu Jing was killed in an instant. Long Ao's action was undoubtedly a provocation to the heaven-devouring empire. If the heaven-devouring empire tolerated it, how could they survive? Without any suspense, the heaven-devouring empire responded the moment Long Ao killed Bu Jing. They immediately sent an army out of the heaven-devouring realm to the soaring dragon realm. Heaven-devouring empire. In a grand hall. Your Majesty, since Long Ao could kill Senior Bu Jing in an instant, I believe his strength is not to be underestimated. We must be careful in the soaring dragon realm. But Chen Ting just smiled. Do you really think it's Long Ao's doing? What did he mean? Shun Zhuo and Shun He were curious as to why His Majesty would say that. Could it be that the person who killed Bu Jing wasn't Long Ao? Impossible. Everyone saw how Long Ao killed Bu Jing in an instant. It couldn't be faked. Your Majesty, could there be more to this matter? Shun He nodded. Chen Ting sneered and said, it seems like Long Ao provoked a powerful Starry Sky World Emperor and this Starry Sky World Emperor wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife. This move of framing someone is really ruthless. Killing with a borrowed knife? Framing someone? The two of them were completely stunned as they couldn't believe that someone would impersonate Long Ao to kill Bu Jing. If this person was really the Starry Sky World Emperor, why would he choose to kill with a borrowed knife? There was no doubt about the strength of a Starry Sky World Emperor. If he wanted to kill Long Ao, it would only take a few minutes. They couldn't figure it out. The more they thought about it, the more curious they became. Your Majesty, what's going on? Although this person's aura is almost the same as Long Ao's, there are still flaws. The biggest flaw is his strength. Strength. Chen Ting smiled and said, that's right, strength. According to the information we received, Long Ao has just broken through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm. Not to mention the Starry Sky World Emperor, he hasn't even reached the Starry Sky World Emperor yet. In just a few days, Long Ao has become a Starry Sky World Emperor and killed Bu Jing? Now that they thought about it, it was true. However, the two of them were still curious. That's not all. Think about it, if Long Ao really broke through to Starry Sky World Emperor, why didn't he destroy my heaven-devouring empire? The two of them finally figured it out. If that was the case, the person who killed Bu Jing was indeed not Long Ao. It was hard to imagine who wanted to kill Bu Jing with a borrowed knife and frame him. The two of them were even more confused. If the other party was really the Starry Sky World Emperor, why didn't he attack directly? Why did he go through so much trouble? Could it be that this person had nothing better to do? If the two of them were in the same situation, they would have definitely taken action. Seemingly able to guess the doubts in the hearts of the two, even Chen Ting was a little curious. He was unable to guess what the other party was thinking. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, this person should be afraid and unable to directly attack. What was the Starry Sky World Monarch afraid of? The Starry Sky World Emperor was so powerful that no one dared to provoke him. It was hard to imagine what he was afraid of. Could it be that Longao had a very powerful backer that even the Starry Sky Realm Emperor had to be wary of? That shouldn't be possible. If there was such a super existence behind Longao, why would Longao avoid them and not destroy the empire? It didn't make sense at all. Whether it was Chen Teng or the two elders, they couldn't figure it out. The more they thought about it, the more complicated it became. No matter how complicated this matter is, we only need to be clear about one thing. This person isn't our enemy. If he was, he would definitely attack us. The two of them were depressed to the extreme. Although the other party wasn't their enemy, he still killed Bu Jing. However, the two of them were also very clear that His Majesty wouldn't want to provoke a powerful Starry Sky World Emperor, because once the Starry Sky World Emperor wanted to deal with the Empire, it was completely impossible to guard against. As for Chen Teng, he didn't think so. Although losing Bu Jing wasn't a good thing for the Empire, it was still worth it as long as they could kill Longao, since Bu Jing had already fallen. Chen Teng definitely wouldn't provoke a Starry Sky World Emperor. Therefore, whether this person was Longao or not, he would treat him as Longao. This way, the 3 years agreement and the 100 years agreement would automatically disappear. This way, the heaven-devouring empire could deal with Longao without any scruples. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Chen Teng was very clear that this person wanted to frame him and kill Longao with a borrowed knife. He believed that this person wouldn't do anything to the empire. Your Majesty, what should we do now? The majority of the army had already headed to the Soaring Dragon Realm, with only a titled World King leading the team. Other than the 3 of us, I have already mobilized 9 titled World Kings. This time, no matter what happens, we must destroy the Dragon Sect and deal with Longao. Shen Teng, Shen Zhuo, Shen He, the previous titled Realm King, and this time, the 9 titled Realm Kings. If all of them were added together, there would be a total of 13 titled Realm Kings. What did this mean? Not only that, Chen Teng had also sent out a super army. No matter which plane or world they wanted to destroy, it would be done in a matter of minutes. The Heaven-Devouring Empire's army heading to the Soaring Dragon Realm shook the entire Heaven-Devouring region. Even the Grand Cloud region was depressed because provoking the Heaven-Devouring Empire was an unwise move. Fortunately, the person the Heaven-Devouring Empire wanted to deal with was Longao and not them. Everyone was in danger. Even the Grand Cloud Empire closed their doors and didn't care about this matter. Under normal circumstances, the Grand Cloud Empire should have stopped the Heaven-Devouring Empire from crossing realms to attack the Grand Cloud region. But what was the result? The Grand Cloud Empire didn't care about this matter at all. They were treated as a joke by others. But after thinking about it, the difference between the Grand Cloud Empire and the Heaven-Devouring Empire was too big. The two of them weren't on the same level. If the Heaven-Devouring Empire wanted to destroy the Grand Cloud Empire, it wouldn't take much trouble. The Grand Cloud Empire couldn't even take care of themselves. How could they care about Longao? As for the life and death of Longao and the Soaring Dragon Realm, the Grand Cloud Empire couldn't care less. Now, the Grand Cloud Empire and other realms hoped that Longao and the Soaring Dragon Realm would be destroyed as soon as possible. This way, the Heaven-Devouring Empire would be able to leave the Grand Cloud region as soon as possible. If the matter didn't concern them, they wouldn't care. As long as the flames of war didn't spread to them, no one would think too much about it. The Grand Cloud region was in chaos. Countless people appeared from the transmission array and headed towards the Soaring Dragon Realm. Author's note: the 3rd chapter is here. Chapter 2151. Soaring Dragon Realm. Fang Shan and Fang Xia had been looking for an opportunity to deal with Longao, but they couldn't even catch a glimpse of Longao's shadow. The two of them were depressed to the extreme. After receiving the news, they immediately met up with Shen Teng and prepared to deal with the Soaring Dragon Realm together. Sealing the realm. Branched Plum Blossom and Haifeng, who received the news, immediately chose to seal the realm. It would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid. The two of them couldn't understand why the master would kill Bu Jing for no reason. No matter what, It was because of Bu Jing that the heaven-devouring empire and the master agreed to a 3-year agreement. Not only that, but the two of them couldn't understand when the master had become so strong that he could kill Bu Jing. In the main hall. Heifeng, what should we do now? Branched Plum Blossom was worried because the heaven-devouring empire's strength was obvious. The sect wasn't their match at all. This time, the heaven-devouring empire had sent a total of 13 titled world kings. Heifeng's face was solemn. The master isn't here. We have to deal with this matter. The seal can't withstand the attack of the heaven-devouring empire. At this moment, Fengshan came in. The two of them felt Feng Xiu's aura and were overjoyed. They said in unison, "Congratulations, Great Elder, for successfully breaking through to the titled World King realm." The two of them were pleasantly surprised. At this moment, Feng Xiu's breakthrough was undoubtedly a timely help for the sect. How is it? After successfully breaking through to the titled World King realm, Feng Xiu had planned to continue cultivating in seclusion and break through to the Starry Sky World Emperor realm in the shortest time possible. If he could break through to the Starry Sky World Emperor realm, he wouldn't have to be afraid of the 13 titled World Kings. However, Feng Xiu knew that even if he had devoured the blood, it wouldn't be easy for him to break through to the Starry Sky World Emperor realm. The sect was in danger. If he continued cultivating in seclusion, how could he face the sect and Longao? That was right. Feng Xiu chose to come out of seclusion without hesitation. Regardless of whether he lived or died, he had already made up his mind. The two of them did not try to hide anything. Zhongxian quickly recounted everything that had happened in the heaven-devouring empire. It wasn't Master's doing. Both Greed Plum Blossom and Heifeng were shocked by Feng Xiu's words. Could it be that the rumors were false? Did the heaven-devouring empire do this on purpose to deal with the sects? Great Elder, what is the meaning of this? I believe you know Master's strength better than I do. Besides, I really can't find any reason why the Master should kill Bu Jing. Feng Xiu thought for a moment and continued, "According to my guess, if I'm not mistaken, someone is trying to get someone else to do the dirty work and frame the sect master. Killing with a borrowed knife and framing others." Both of them knew clearly that since this man could kill Bu Jing in an instant, his strength was beyond doubt. Why would such a powerful super expert be so bored as to kill with a borrowed knife and frame someone else? Alright, I believe that the master will be back soon. There's only one thing we need to do now, and that's to stop the attack of the heaven-devouring empire. Alright. Since Longao wasn't around, the one in charge of the dragon sect was Feng Xiu, followed by Greed Plum Blossom and Heifeng. No matter what, Feng Xiu had already broken through to the titled World King realm. Not to mention the Soaring Dragon realm, he was a super existence even in the Grand Cloud realm. Feng Xiu's breakthrough gave the dragon sect some confidence. Everyone in the Soaring Dragon realm was in danger. The dragon sect had just risen, and it hadn't been long since they dominated the Soaring Dragon realm. Therefore, the internal conflicts in the Soaring Dragon realm were huge. In the face of a powerful enemy, 99% of the forces were moved. Feng Xiu, Greed Plum Blossom, and Heifeng discussed and immediately opened the seal. No matter who it was, as long as they were willing to leave the Soaring Dragon realm, they wouldn't stop them. Just like that. In just a few hours, countless forces chose to leave. In everyone's opinion, the dragon sect would definitely be annihilated by the heaven-devouring empire. It wouldn't be good if they were caught in the crossfire. Fearing that they would be caught in the crossfire, all the forces chose to leave. Cultivators who hadn't broken through to the Starry Sky realm couldn't leave the realm. Therefore, there were still many people in the Soaring Dragon realm, about a few billion. After countless forces left, the tension in the Soaring Dragon realm increased. Whether the Soaring Dragon realm lived or died seemed to be a foregone conclusion. The heaven-devouring empire surrounded the Soaring Dragon realm, but they didn't choose to attack immediately. In Shunteng's opinion, the Soaring Dragon realm was meat on an iron plate, waiting to be slaughtered. Shunteng was only worried about one thing, and that was whether Longao was in the Soaring Dragon realm. If he wasn't, wouldn't he alert the enemy by destroying the Soaring Dragon realm? If that was the case, Longao would definitely not return to the Soaring Dragon Bitwall. In that case, if Longao hid himself, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack to find a trace of a person in the vast starry sky. Shunting was waiting for Longao to walk right into his trap. At that time, he would cheat in the jar. At that time, even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to leave the soaring dragon realm alive. Everyone knew what Shunting meant. Therefore, everyone was waiting, hoping that Longao would return to the soaring dragon realm. Otherwise, this trip would be in vain. After all, what was the use of destroying the soaring dragon realm? After all, the person they came to deal with this time was Longao, not the dragon sect. Longao was the soul of the dragon sect. Without Longao, the dragon sect would cease to exist. However, if the dragon sect was destroyed, Longao could establish a second dragon sect, a third dragon sect, or even a fourth or fifth dragon sect, etc. The next day, dusk, Longao finally returned and entered the soaring dragon realm without anyone knowing. Even Shunting and the others didn't know if Longao had entered the soaring dragon realm. This was the real reason why Shunting and the others didn't make a move. "Master, you're finally back." Looking at the master who suddenly appeared, the 3 of them were overjoyed. During this period of time, the 3 of them were exhausted. In addition to dealing with the internal problems, they also had to guard against external troubles. The 3 of them didn't know when the heaven-devouring empire would make a move. They had to be careful everywhere. If the master wasn't around and the sect was destroyed, how would they explain this to the master? How is it? The 3 of them were very clear about the seriousness of the matter. Without any hesitation or concealment, they roughly explained the situation of the realm. One word: chaos. Because all the forces had chosen to leave, the soaring dragon realm had become an empty shell. Author's note: the 4th chapter has been delivered. Thank you for your concern, brothers. My wife went to bed early. Little 9 stayed up late to write a few more chapters. As for the question, what is a stomach flu? It's a stomach flu caused by eating something bad. Chapter 2152. Longao was also depressed. However, it was completely within his expectations that things would turn out this way. With the strength of the heaven-devouring empire, it was only natural that many people were afraid of them. It was only natural that they would choose to flee. "Master, Wei Lin wishes to see you." "Wei Lin? Let him in." After the disciple left, Longao asked curiously, "Who is this Wei Lin?" Now that the realm was sealed, outsiders couldn't enter. From this, one could imagine that this Wei Lin was definitely from the soaring dragon realm. However, there were too many people in the soaring dragon realm. Longao didn't know all of them. "Master, Wei Lin is the head of the Wei clan. As for the Wei clan, we can't underestimate them in the soaring dragon realm." However, the Wei clan ignored Wei Lin's threat and chose to leave. Wei Lin is the only one left in the Wei clan. I see. If that's the case, Wei Lin is really something. He actually ignored the heaven-devouring empire and forced himself to stay. At this moment, a burly man walked in quickly. As soon as he stepped into the main hall, he bowed respectfully and said, "Wei Lin greets the sect master, the 2 elders, and the great elder." Wei Lin did not claim to be the head of the Wei family. This in itself already explained the problem. "Brother Wei, please take a seat." "Master, you're too courteous." Wei Lin was very generous and sat down without hesitation. "May I know why Brother Wei is looking for me this time?" Longao was also curious. Wei Lin was only a starry sky territory ancestor. He was useless in this battle. However, if Wei Lin wanted to join, he wouldn't stop him. Longao admired Wei Lin. Under the pressure of the heaven-devouring empire, Wei Lin still dared to force himself to stay. He was very courageous. "Master, I'm here because of the heaven-devouring empire. Please speak." Longao and the others weren't surprised at all. Wei Lin must have come because of the heaven-devouring empire. Otherwise, Wei Lin wouldn't be bored. "Master, given the strength of the heaven-devouring empire, we won't be a match for them. Why don't we conserve our strength and think of a solution in the future?" Longao thought the same. Just as Wei Lin had said, it was impossible for him to clash head-on with the heaven-devouring empire. Even if Feng Xiu's cultivation had broken through to the titled World King realm, it wouldn't affect the battle at all. A total of 13 titled World Kings. This wasn't a random number. But sealing a plain was easier said than done. Longao knew what Shenteng meant. The main reason why the heaven-devouring empire hadn't attacked the plain yet was because Shenteng didn't know if he had entered the plain. Shenteng was afraid of alerting the enemy, so he didn't dare to act rashly. Very difficult. Blackwind sighed and helplessly said, 13 titled World Kings attacking at the same time. No matter what seal it is, it won't be able to withstand it. Therefore, at this point, Haifeng did not continue, but the meaning behind his words was very clear. However, Wei Lin smiled. Master, I have a way to seal the plain. Even the heaven-devouring empire won't be able to break in. What is it? So it was because of this. Longao was also very curious. He didn't know what method Wei Lin had to seal the plain and prevent the heaven-devouring empire from attacking. If he could really seal the plain and stop the heaven-devouring empire, it would solve their urgent problem. Master, our Wei family has a treasure that can seal the plain. Unless we activate the treasure, even the starry Skyworld Emperor won't be able to break in. He was very shocked. Wei Lin didn't hesitate and immediately passed the Wei family's treasure to Longao. Longao passed it to Haifeng and said, I'll leave this matter to you. Yes, Master. Haifeng also knew the seriousness of the matter and didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately left the hall and went to the seal. Brother Wei, if you don't mind, why don't you join my dragon sect? That's what I was thinking. Thank you, Master. Longao was also very surprised. This Wei family's head could be considered a weirdo. He didn't choose the heaven-devouring empire, but chose him. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't have made such a choice. However, since Wei Lin had chosen him, Longao didn't intend to treat him badly. He directly gave Wei Lin the position of elder. However, this elder's authority was definitely not as high as Feng Xiu's. In the dragon sect, other than Longao, Feng Xiu was next. No matter what, Feng Xiu's prestige and strength were there. After him were the two vice-master. Haifeng sealed the soaring dragon realm as fast as he could. This way, the soaring dragon realm would be like a sealed realm. Even the heaven-devouring empire would have a hard time breaking the seal. After waiting for half a month, Shenteng was really unwilling to wait any longer. He immediately started attacking the plain. According to Shenteng's calculations, he only needed a short while to successfully invade the soaring dragon plain. But the result? No matter how he attacked, he couldn't break the seal of the plain. Shenteng was very shocked because he didn't know what was going on. He was very clear on how terrifying the power of a titled world king was. Without any other choice, Shenteng prepared to directly destroy the entire soaring dragon plain. If it was someone else who dared to destroy a plain, they would definitely be besieged by many people. Only the heaven-devouring empire didn't care about such a threat. Especially a weak empire like the Grand Cloud Empire, they didn't dare to provoke the heaven-devouring empire. Shenteng absolutely wouldn't do this unless he had no other choice. However, he was almost certain that in half a month's time, as long as Longao received the news, he would definitely return to the soaring dragon plain. Shenteng was very confident about this. Without any other choice, Shenteng and the other 13 titled world kings attacked at the same time. However, there was still no result. This time, everyone was shocked. The continuous attacks still didn't have the slightest effect. Shenteng and the others didn't know how Longao did it. They knew very well how terrifying the combined might of 13 titled world kings was. What should they do? If this matter were to spread out, it would be a great loss of face. The heaven-devouring empire had dispatched 13 Phoenix world kings, including the emperor himself, but they still couldn't break the seal. If this matter were to spread out, no one would believe it. Your Majesty, what should we do now? No one could figure it out. However, if they couldn't break the seal of the plain, how could they kill Longao? How could they destroy the dragon sect? How could they destroy the soaring dragon plane? The current Shunting could be said to be extremely depressed. After so many years, this was the first time something like this had happened. It was a heavy blow to him. P.S. Starting tomorrow, 4 chapters a day. Because of the announcement on the website will be promoting Longao's Battle God on the 24th of September. This is Little Nine's chance to reach the peak. If he doesn't save up, Little Nine won't be able to complete it. As an author, he must consider the long term. Please forgive him. Chapter 2153. The news that Shunting and the other titled world kings were unable to break through the soaring dragon realm instantly spread throughout Grand Cloud Empire, including the heaven-devouring empire. Everyone who received the news turned pale with fright. Is this true? How did Longao do it? Soaring dragon realm. Longao heaved a sigh of relief after the seal blocked the attack of the heaven-devouring empire. Although he knew that this matter couldn't go on, it was fortunate that he was able to block Shunting's attack for the time being. Dragon Sect. The back mountain was very secluded. Zebra Plum Blossom stood alone in the middle of thousands of flowers. His face was filled with loneliness and vicissitudes of life. Master, you're here. Longao's figure suddenly appeared, looking at the figure not far away. He was curious as to what was going on with Yi Ji Mai. Ever since he returned to the soaring dragon realm, Longao felt that something was wrong with Yi Ji Mai. As for what was wrong, even he couldn't pinpoint it. Yi Ji Mai, what's going on with you? He was helpless. Yi Ji Mai sighed deeply and came to Longao's side. The two of them sat down at the same time. The more Yi Ji Mai acted like this, the more curious Longao was. He didn't know what was going on with Yi Ji Mai. Yi Ji Mai, are we friends? Of course, Master. No matter when, no matter what happens, we'll always be friends. That will never change. Spray of Plum Blossom's words were very strange, causing Ao Long to be a little confused. What's going on with Yi Ji Mai? Big brother, you have to be careful of Yi Ji Mai. I can sense the devouring power on him. Devouring power? He was shocked. Long Ao knew what Long Chong meant. If it was an ordinary devouring power, he believed that Long Chong wouldn't say anything. If he wasn't wrong, the devouring power on Yi Ji Mai must be extraordinary. Otherwise, Long Chong wouldn't have said anything. Yi Ji Mai, tell me honestly. What's going on with you? Long Ao's intuition told him that there was something wrong with Plum Blossom. As for what the problem was, he wasn't sure. Forget it. Spray of Plum Blossom didn't seem to want to say anything. Just as Spray of Plum Blossom was about to leave, Long Ao stopped him and said seriously, Spray of Plum Blossom, did you consume the Chaos Tablet? Long Ao wasn't sure if he and Long Chong were wrong. He knew very well that if Yi Ji Mai hid his aura on purpose, even he and the Long Chong would not be able to sense that Yi Ji Mai possessed a strong devouring power. Spray of Plum Blossom was doing this on purpose, but he wasn't willing to say anything. What was the meaning of this? The only explanation was that Spray of Plum Blossom was also conflicted. Master, have you figured it out? Hearing Yi Ji Mai's words, Long Ao was shocked to the extreme. His face was filled with disbelief because he had never thought that his guess would be true. If that was the case, then Yi Ji Mai's identity. Are you the Star Devourer Dominator? The Devouring Space Ruler, one of the 12 rulers of the universe. Long Ao had obtained the Devouring Primal Chaos Tablet before. It was also because of this that he could clearly sense that the Plum Blossom possessed a powerful devouring power. In that case, he guessed that the Plum Blossom before him had most likely devoured the Devouring Primal Chaos Tablet. The Devouring Chaos Tablet was one of the 12 Chaos Tablets. Could ordinary people devour it? According to Xian Tong, the Devouring Chaos Tablet had left him because its master had awakened. In other words, the Devouring Chaos Tablet's departure meant that the Devouring Space Ruler had appeared. Impartiality. If Spray of Plum Blossom had obtained the Devouring Chaos Tablet, then there was only one possibility. Spray of Plum Blossom was the so-called Devouring Space Ruler. Spray of Plum Blossom was the Devouring Space Ruler. What was going on? Longao couldn't figure out why these so-called rulers of the universe were always revolving around him. If it had been anyone else, not to mention encountering so many rulers of the universe, even encountering any one of them would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Master, you're really smart. That's right, I am the reincarnation of the devouring space ruler. However, I haven't obtained all my memories yet. Therefore, I can say that I'm not the devouring space ruler. I can also say that I'm the devouring space ruler. Definitely. Longao was almost certain of this, because if Spray of Plum Blossom hadn't devoured the devouring space ruler, then he couldn't have obtained the devouring chaos tablet. This was the best proof. This was going to be troublesome. Longao had always treated Spray of Plum Blossom as a friend. However, he knew very well that this relationship would change as Spray of Plum Blossom's identity changed. Would the devouring space ruler be willing to continue being friends with him? That might not be the case. Every ruler of the universe was a high and mighty existence, dominating the entire universe. Not to mention others, even other rulers of the universe might not be willing to be friends. This was the pride of a ruler of the universe. As if he could guess Longao's thoughts, Spray of Plum Blossom sighed deeply and said helplessly, "Master, I know what you mean. I've just said that I'll always be Spray of Plum Blossom, and I'll always be the vice master of the dragon sect. Back then, I was deceived by the divine mathematician and ended up in such a sorry state. Now that I've awakened my primordial spirit, I'm going to go into seclusion to cultivate and recover my peak strength as soon as possible." "What are you going to do?" "If Master doesn't mind, I'm going to cultivate in seclusion. If there's nothing else, I hope Master won't let anyone disturb me." "That's not a problem." Longao and Spray of Plum Blossom chatted for a long time. No one knew what they were talking about. Since then, this place had become a forbidden area of the dragon sect. No one was allowed to enter without permission. Those who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. No one dared to say anything because the forbidden area was nothing new to any of the powers. As for Spray of Plum Blossom, Longao didn't mention it to anyone. This was his biggest secret. Until now, Longao still hadn't realized that Spray of Plum Blossom was the so-called ruler of the universe. It was unbelievable and unimaginable. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes and heard it from Spray of Plum Blossom's mouth, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. However, it was always a good thing to have such a ruler of the universe as a good friend. Longao knew very well that if Spray of Plum Blossom recovered his peak strength, it would definitely be a good thing for him. Putting everything else aside, if other rulers of the universe came looking for trouble, with Spray of Plum Blossom's deterrence, they wouldn't come looking for trouble, especially Long Mie. Chapter 2154. Big Brother, are you sure you're not worried at all? Long Chong was very worried. His face was full of worry. Long Chong might not be worried, but Long Chong couldn't. In Long Chong's opinion, Yi Mai was still the ruler of Starry Sky. It might not be a big deal now, but what about when Yi Mai regained his peak strength? Who could guarantee that Yi Mai would be able to do so? Long Chong knew what it meant to have a ruler of Starry Sky. Once Yi Mai regained his ruler of the Starry Sky, who would be able to stop this ruler of the Starry Sky? Long Chong's meaning was clear. If that was the case, Long Chong would be in danger. How could Long Chong not know what Long Chong meant? He would be lying if he said he wasn't worried. Just as Long Chong was worried, Yi Mai was still the ruler of Starry Sky. No one could guarantee that Yi Mai would continue to treat him as a friend in the future. Turn against him? Repay kindness with enmity? All of this was very likely to happen. Long Chong shrugged helplessly. Long Chong, this matter ends here. We'll take it one step at a time. There's only one thing we need to think about now. How are we going to deal with the heaven-devouring empire? That was the biggest problem. In the end, Long Chong chose to believe in Yi Mai. Seeing his brother like this, what else could Long Chong say? He could only sigh helplessly in his heart. This time, Long Chong wanted nothing more than to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. He wanted to kill Yi Mai before Yi Mai regained his Starry Sky ruler status. This way, He would be able to eliminate all future concerns. Long Qiong didn't say anything since Long Qiong had already made up his mind. Big brother, there must be a starry sky boundary emperor in the heaven-devouring empire. However, I believe the heaven-devouring empire won't use the power of the starry sky boundary emperor unless it's absolutely necessary. With regards to this point, Longao expressed his agreement. He wouldn't believe that such a powerful starry sky empire didn't have a starry sky boundary emperor. Not to mention the starry sky boundary emperor, the 13 titled world kings were already troublesome. Was he going to seal the soaring dragon realm forever? There was no benefit in being conservative. Long Qiong knew that he had to think of a solution as soon as possible. Otherwise, things would become troublesome. Long Qiong, what do you think we should do now? I don't know. How could Long Qiong know? Although he had already become the item spirit of the dragon seal, the item spirit still hadn't recovered, so Long Qiong couldn't do anything about it. If the dragon's power could be restored to its peak. Unfortunately, it was easier said than done to recover the peak strength of the dragon seal. Long Qiong's mind's Qiong. Fortunately, the soaring dragon dimension had been sealed. If Shenting wanted to attack, it would not be an easy task. Just like that, the soaring dragon realm sealed itself. No matter how Shenting and the others attacked, it didn't counterattack. Over time, Shenting chose to give up. Because Shenting knew very well that even if he continued to attack like this, it would be useless. If that was the case, he might as well choose to give up. Why waste time here? Shenting left some people to continue monitoring the soaring dragon realm. He left Haoyun region with everyone and returned to his empire. This time, Shenting was depressed to the extreme. Not long after Shenting's group left, Ziling and Bai Ling's figures appeared. Based on their normal speed, the two of them should have arrived long ago. However, something had happened in between, so the two of them were delayed. Ziling and Bai Ling already knew that Long Qiong had killed Biyu Jing and that Shenting had brought an army to attack Dragon Sect. That was why they rushed over without stopping. Sister, what's wrong? I can't break the seal here. Looking at the realm in front of them, Ziling was very curious. It seemed that Shenting and the others couldn't break the seal of the soaring dragon realm. This seal was really troublesome. They couldn't contact the people in the realm at all. So, as long as the seal was not broken, it was really troublesome for them to enter. Bai Ling was very anxious. She didn't know how Brother Long was doing. Please don't let anything happen to him. Bai Ling prayed in her heart. The only way now is for you and me to release our sword intent at the same time and see if Long Qiong can sense it. Bai Ling certainly wouldn't object and agreed. The two didn't hesitate and immediately released their terrifying sword intent. In the next second, two sword intents rose and shrouded the entire soaring dragon realm. Sword intent could penetrate the seal of the realm and enter the realm. In this case, as long as Long Qiong could sense the existence of the sword intent, he would know what had happened. Dragon Sect. Long Qiong, who was discussing matters with Feng Xiu and He Feng, felt that something was wrong. As for what was wrong, he couldn't tell. Long Qiong didn't tell the two about Yi Ji Mai. He only said that Yi Ji Mai's cultivation had sensed something and had started to cultivate in seclusion. He hoped that he could have a breakthrough this time. From the beginning to the end, both Feng Xiu and He Feng didn't have the slightest suspicion. Master, according to the news we received, Shenting has left Grand Cloud's realm with a large group and returned to Devouring Realm. Why don't we break the seal? He Feng was also very depressed. Because of the result of being conservative, not only would Dragon Sect not have any development, it might even regress. In the vast universe, no powerful realm would be conservative. If it was before, there would be no choice. After all, the powerful devouring realm was a deterrent. The sect could only choose to seal the realm. Otherwise, there would be a lot of trouble. However, the situation was completely different now. Shenting and the rest had already left. At this time, the sect had to continue to seal the realm. The gains didn't make up for the losses. Feng Xiu and He Feng were very clear that this matter still needed Long Qiong to make the decision. No matter what, Long Qiong was the master of Dragon Sect and had the right to make the final decision. Feng Xiu and He Feng were waiting for Long Qiong's reply. As for Long Qiong, at this time, he didn't have the slightest thought in his mind. This was because he had already sensed the two-sword intents, but he didn't dare to confirm it. Was it Bai Ling and Xiling? What if Shen Ting and the rest had set up a trap to lure him out and deal with him? Because of this, even if he sensed the two-sword intents, Long Qiong didn't act rashly. After sensing for a few minutes, Long Qiong suddenly stood up, startling the two. Break the seal. We'll leave now. Ah! What's wrong with the master? Chapter 2155. Feng Xiu and He Feng were a little confused. What happened to the master? The two of them were very depressed. They did not know what was going on with the master. However, the two of them looked at each other. Since the master had agreed to release the seal, this was a good thing. The three of them increased their speed to the maximum. In a short while, the three of them had already reached the peak of the ninth heaven. He Feng, release the seal. As soon as Longao finished speaking, He Feng had already moved. As soon as the seal was released, Bai Ling and Xiling appeared instantly. Facing each other, Longao and Bai Ling slowly walked together and gently hugged each other. Who are they? Neither Feng Xiu nor He Feng knew who the two people who suddenly appeared were. However, the two of them knew very well. To be able to do this, it was obvious that the two of them were related. The two of them did not speak, and no one disturbed them. After a few hours, the two of them finally separated. Bai Ling, where have you been all this time? The few of them had already returned to the main hall, and Longao could not wait to ask. Bai Ling smiled. Seeing that Brother Long was fine, she heaved a sigh of relief. Without hiding anything, he recounted everything that had happened in the past few days in full detail. After hearing this, Longao was very touched. At this moment, Xiling, who had been silent all this time, said, Longao, you only have 1 day. At this time tomorrow, Bai Ling and I will leave this place. After saying this, Xiling turned and left. Huh! Hearing Xiling's words, Longao was a little surprised. He could not wait to ask, Bai Ling, what's going on? It was not easy to find Xiling and Bai Ling. Why did he only have 1 day? If this was the case, did it mean that the two of them were preparing to leave? What had happened? He had a helpless look on his face. Bai Ling sighed softly and said, Big Brother Long, Big Sister said before that she has reached a bottleneck. We have to return to that place in order to recover to our peak. Otherwise, we will lose this opportunity. Longao didn't say anything. His intuition told him that this matter was definitely not that simple. As expected. Brother Long, there are some things that you don't understand. My sister and I don't have much time left. If we don't make it in time, I'm afraid, I understand. Longao didn't continue to ask because he knew very well that if Bai Ling wanted to tell him, even if he didn't ask, he believed that Bai Ling would tell him. If Bai Ling didn't want to say it, why should he continue to ask? Longao didn't care about other things. He stayed with Bai Ling and talked about the pain of lovesickness. Night fell. The 9 heavens were dotted with stars. Xiling, are you looking for me? Longao was very unhappy because he and Bai Ling only had less than 12 hours left. Xiling and Bai Ling were going to leave tomorrow, but at this time, Xiling had asked him to come out. He couldn't help but come out. He was extremely depressed. Longao, I believe you have guessed my identity. Xiling was also very surprised because when they came here this time, she found that Longao looked at her in a completely different way. It was because of this that Xiling guessed that Longao had probably guessed her identity. Although she was very surprised and didn't know how Longao guessed it. Sword Will, Starry Sky Dominator. Longao also didn't expect that Xiling was Starry Sky Dominator. But Longao was still very happy because of the relationship between Xiling and Bai Ling. Xiling smiled. You're really smart. Xiling suddenly changed the topic and said, Shen Tong, we haven't seen each other for many years. Are you going to continue to hide? Ha ha ha, sword intent, We haven't seen each other for so many years, but you're still so domineering. With a burst of laughter, Shen Tong's figure appeared. It seems that my intuition was right. The 12 starry sky dominators have all awakened their primordial spirits. It seems that we don't have much time. Shen Tong was very surprised, but he sighed deeply. Sword intent, don't you understand? Master God Diviner was the only one who plotted all of this. He didn't perish, and was always at the peak of his power. As for the 11 of us, we ended up in the cycle of reincarnation. It was all a trap, a lie. Shen Tong was also very surprised. He didn't expect the sword intent to be so persistent. Xiling snorted and said, "Things have come to this, and there's no turning back. Shen Tong, don't blame me for reminding you. If you don't fight this time, you'll definitely regret it. Do you think the marvelous mathematician will let you go?" The marvelous mathematician. At the mention of the marvelous mathematician, Shen Tong's expression changed again and again. Back then, the 11 of them had all been fooled by the marvelous mathematician, and eventually died and entered the samsara. Because of this, they had been delayed for so long. If they didn't have the Chaos Stone tablet and almost indestructible bodies, they would have disappeared without a trace. Should they continue? If they continued, it would mean that they didn't know whether they would live or die. If they didn't continue, it would also mean that they would live or die. As the starry sky dominator, Shen Tong frowned and felt extremely helpless. Sword intent, I can't make the decision on my own. After some time, when my primordial spirit is completely stabilized, I'll go and find others. At that time, we'll discuss whether we should continue or not. Longao, who was standing to one side, didn't interrupt at all. He knew that this was a matter between the starry sky dominators. How could he interfere? However, Longao probably understood that the 11 starry sky dominators had been fooled by the marvelous mathematician. Indeed, no one was willing to doubt the marvelous mathematician's words. However, Sword Intent snorted and said, "Whether you want to continue or not, I won't give up. This time, I must succeed." Violet Spirit turned around and left, causing Shen Tong to be extremely depressed. Longao, if you have a chance, you'd better persuade Xiling. Persuade Xiling? Me? That's a joke. Let's not talk about whether Xiling will listen to me. I don't even know what's going on. How can I persuade Xiling? Will I listen? Just now, Xiling's attitude was very clear. He definitely wouldn't listen. He knew Xiling's character very well. Once he decided on something, he would hardly change his mind. This was very similar to himself. Since I know it's impossible, why would I insist on persuading him? I'm just asking for trouble. Because of this, Longao didn't intend to persuade him. As for Xiling and Senior Bai, no matter what decision they made, he would agree and support them 100%. Even if he had to face the marvelous mathematician in the future, he wouldn't hesitate. As soon as he saw Longao's expression, Shen Tong already knew what he was thinking. He sighed deeply. Chapter 2156. Longao didn't ask about Xiling. However, Longao knew that Xiling and the other 10 rulers of Starry Sky were involved in something extraordinary. It could even threaten the lives of the 11 rulers of Starry Sky. The next day, while Longao and Bai Ling were extremely reluctant to leave, Xiling and Bai Ling still left the Soaring Dragon Realm. Now that he knew that Xiling and Bai Ling would be fine, Longao could more or less relax. The most important thing now was to increase his strength as soon as possible. Longao knew that he was still too far away from becoming a ruler of Starry Sky. If Xiling and Bai Ling were in trouble in the future, he wouldn't be able to help even if he wanted to. Now that he had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Realm Lord, the next step was to work hard towards becoming a Starry Sky Realm King. The seal had just been opened. The news had already reached the heaven-devouring empire, and Shunting immediately rushed over with his army. The result? The realm was sealed again. Shunting tried a few more times but still couldn't break the seal. He could only leave dejectedly. As soon as Shunting left, the seal was opened again. Shenteng didn't come back this time because he understood that he would only be wasting his time if this continued. Fang Shan and Fang Xia chose to stay. The two of them did not step into the soaring dragon bit wall either because they knew very well that Longao would definitely not stay in the soaring dragon bit wall forever. As long as Longao appeared, they would be able to take action immediately. Soaring Dragon Realm. Dragon Sect. Longao, Feng Xiu, and Heifeng sat in the main hall. The three of them were discussing how to deal with the upcoming situation. As for Yi Ji-mai, he was cultivating in seclusion. Feng Xiu and Heifeng still didn't know about Yi Ji-mai's identity. Otherwise, they would have been shocked to death. The 12 rulers of Starry Sky were the top existences in the vast universe, but they had been dead for countless years. Big Brother Feng, you've already successfully broken through to the titled World King realm and become a Starry Sky World Emperor. With the seal on the sect, I believe the heaven-devouring empire won't be able to do anything to us. Master is right. Feng Xiu nodded in agreement. Master, I'll take my leave first. All right. Feng Xiu immediately stood up and left. After swallowing the blood, Feng Xiu had broken through from a Starry Sky World King to a titled World King. However, he was well aware that breaking through from a titled World King to a Starry Sky World Emperor wasn't an easy task. As for titled World Kings and Starry Sky World Emperors, they were two completely different existences. Master, the heaven-devouring empire won't stop here. We have to think of a way to deal with them. Otherwise, we won't be able to do anything. How could Longao not know what Heifeng meant? The heaven-devouring empire had always been a problem. There were countless empires in the universe. The fact that the heaven-devouring empire could stand tall in the universe for so many years spoke volumes. The first thing we need to do now is to develop our own strength. Once Big Brother Feng's cultivation breaks through to the Starry Sky Boundary Emperor realm, we'll take action. Longao knew that the heaven-devouring empire wasn't as simple as it seemed. Without a doubt. There was also a Starry Sky World Emperor in the heaven-devouring empire. However, no one knew if there was a titled World Emperor in the empire. That was indeed the case. This wasn't the best time to make a move. With the sect's current strength, they wouldn't be able to shake the heaven-devouring empire. If they acted rashly, only death would await them. Master, I know what to do. I'll have to trouble you. You're welcome. Longao didn't plan to stay any longer. It was impossible for him to recover his strength quickly with his current condition. He could only leave the plane and train outside. Without Bai Ling and Xiling's worries, Longao could finally relax. The next thing he had to do was to increase his strength. He had to deal with the heaven-devouring empire within 100 years. The heaven-devouring empire could choose not to abide by the agreement, but he would definitely do so. He would destroy the heaven-devouring empire within 100 years. Longao didn't leave the plane immediately. Before he left, he wanted to meet a very special person. As for the sect, other than the titled World King Feng Xiu, there was also Yi Ji-mai. Others might not know the true identity of Yi Ji-mai, but how could he not know? She was the heaven-devouring empire's ruler, one of the 12 rulers of the universe. Not only that, but the plane was also sealed. Under the layers of seals, the sect was very safe. It was also because of this that Longao prepared to leave with peace of mind. Wei Lin, the head of the Wei family, the universe territory ancestor. Everyone in the Wei family had chosen to leave the soaring dragon plane, except for the head of the Wei family. He had even taken out the Wei family's heirloom to help the sect. Longao had always been curious about this matter. He didn't dare to gamble, and he couldn't gamble. If he lost, the sect would be finished, and he would suffer a crushing defeat. Master, is there anything you need from me? Wei Lin was now an elder of the dragon sect. Although his position wasn't as high as the two vice-master and great elder, his position wasn't low. No matter what, without Wei Lin's seal, the sect wouldn't be able to withstand the attack of the heaven-devouring empire. The consequences would be unimaginable. Brother Wei, please take a seat. Wei Lin did not stand on ceremony at all and sat down directly. Wei Lin did not become arrogant and domineering because he helped the sect resist a strong enemy. He was a very indifferent person, as if nothing could affect him. Master, if you have something to say, just say it. As long as I can do it, I won't refuse. Brother Wei, I want to know your true identity. Longao could almost assert that the Wei Lin in front of him was definitely not simple. It was better to be safe than sorry. He did not want to cause trouble for himself, nor did he want to cause any trouble for the sect. Especially after he left, he could feel how powerful the other party was. Longao was really afraid of Wei Lin. He didn't know why, but it was his intuition. It seems that Master doesn't believe me. In that case, I'll get straight to the point. Master, to be honest, I'm indeed the head of the Wei family. Everyone chose to leave the soaring dragon plane, but I chose to stay. Other than wanting to join the dragon sect, I also want to borrow Master's hand to avenge my sister. Avenge his sister? Could it be that Wei Lin had a grudge against the heaven-devouring empire? Longao didn't say anything because he knew that things had already come to this point. Even if he didn't continue to ask, he believed that Wei Lin would tell him everything. Sect leader, my sister was Chen Teng's concubine. However, she was beaten to death by this shameless bastard. 2 lives were lost. I will never forget this hatred. It was also because of this that my parents died. Longao didn't have the slightest doubt because he could sense that Wei Lin didn't seem to be lying. Why did you choose me? Chapter 2157. Longao was well aware of his own strength. But Wei Lin chose him. Even Wei Lin himself wouldn't believe it, let alone others. However, Wei Lin smiled. Master, I've already understood your situation. So I believe that even if you're not a match for the heaven-devouring empire now, you'll definitely be able to destroy them in the future. I believe in my foresight. Longao was shocked. However, since things had already come to this point, what else could he say? He didn't continue asking. Longao was well aware that Wei Lin wasn't lying to him. Leaving the soaring dragon realm, Longao used the teleportation array to rush to the heaven-devouring realm, giving them a taste of their own medicine. Since the heaven-devouring empire wanted to deal with him, there was no need for him to be polite. In the heaven-devouring realm, the heaven-devouring empire was definitely the overlord. No one dared to go against them. However, because of Longao, the heaven-devouring empire had lost all their face and reputation. In other words, the heaven-devouring empire was now a joke in the heaven-devouring realm. As long as they had nothing to do, they would talk about the matter between the heaven-devouring empire and Longao. Even the heaven-devouring empire couldn't do anything about it. Anger, endless anger. But what could they do in such a situation? Longao didn't want to go head-to-head with the heaven-devouring empire. Anger was a waste of time. Until now, the heaven-devouring empire still couldn't figure out why the 13 titled martial gods couldn't break the seal of the soaring dragon realm. It was unbelievable. As for the news of Longao killing Bu Jing in one move, although the heaven-devouring empire didn't say it out loud, many people could guess that someone was trying to frame Bu Jing. Which super expert was trying to frame Longao? To be able to kill Bu Jing in an instant, it was obvious what kind of person the other party was. If there was no accident, the person who killed Bu Jing in an instant must be a Starry Sky Realm Emperor. Why didn't the Starry Sky World Emperor deal with Longao himself? Everyone knew what a Starry Sky World Emperor meant. Not to mention one Longao, even if there were countless Longaos, it was impossible for them to be a match for a Starry Sky Realm Emperor. He couldn't figure it out. It was just too strange. Longao had already quietly entered the Starry Sky domain. Of course, he heard all kinds of discussions. He felt very helpless because others might not know who wanted to frame him, but he knew clearly. This person was none other than Long Mie. The dominator of the Samsara Starry Sky wanted to kill him. Because this was the only way to eliminate the source of trouble and avoid being devoured by him in the future. No matter what. Since he was the reincarnation of Dragon Destroyer, there was a chance that he could refine the reincarnation Chaos Tablet. It was better to be safe than sorry. If he really did refine the reincarnation Chaos Tablet, he could replace it and become the new reincarnation Chaos Tablet. It was unrealistic for Longmire to say that he wasn't worried. The only way was to eliminate the source of the problem. Draconic annihilation was a coward. If it had been any other galaxy ruler, even with Shen Tong's deterrence, they would have attacked without hesitation. This was related to his future. Longao was certain that the current Longmire should have recovered to the level of Starry Sky World Emperor if there were no accidents. It would be difficult for him to contend against such a superpower, even with the help of 2 Starry Sky Corps slaves. It would be troublesome if he didn't settle this quickly. Longao didn't know when Draconic annihilation would appear to deal with him. It was hard to guard against him. What should he do? If there was a chance, Longao wouldn't hesitate to kill Draconic annihilation. If he could replace Draconic annihilation and become the new dominator of the Samsara Starry Sky, it would be a good thing. Longao didn't enter the heaven-devouring plane. The heaven-devouring empire must be furious. Wouldn't he be touching the tigers? But if he chose to enter at this time? Shenteng was killed by Longao. The 10 titled world kings of the heaven-devouring empire were all killed by Longao. The heaven-devouring empire was in danger and could be destroyed at any time. The news spread quickly, causing everyone to panic. They didn't know what was going on. If it was in the past, no one would believe that Shenteng would die. The 10 titled world kings were killed. The heaven-devouring empire could be destroyed. It was almost impossible. But now, the situation was completely different. Many people chose to believe it because the lesson of the past was still vivid in their minds. If it was Longao, he definitely wouldn't be able to do it. However, everyone was very clear that someone was trying to frame them. If the other party was really the Starry Sky World Emperor, then killing Shenteng and annihilating the 10 titled world kings would be more than enough. Everyone started to investigate the truth of the matter. If it was in the past, the heaven-devouring empire would definitely come out to refute the rumors. But now, the heaven-devouring empire didn't make any move. Could the rumors be true? If that was the case, the matter would be troublesome. If the other party wanted to kill Shenteng with a borrowed knife, there was no need to do so. Killing Shenteng wouldn't benefit the other party in the slightest. What was the other party trying to do? Could it be that the other party wanted to deal with the heaven-devouring empire, but he didn't want to reveal his true identity and was using Longao's appearance? After all, the grudge between the Longao and the heaven-devouring empire was no longer a secret. Things were getting more and more complicated. As the absolute overlord of the heaven-devouring region, no one dared to provoke the heaven-devouring empire unless they were crazy or courting death. But now, in less than a year, there were people who dared to provoke the heaven-devouring empire one after another. Moreover, they were still alive and well. Everyone was looking forward to what would happen next. They wanted to see if the other party would continue to deal with the heaven-devouring empire and if the heaven-devouring empire would retaliate. The death of Shenteng and the 10 titled world kings was definitely a huge blow to the heaven-devouring empire. Now, it was up to the heaven-devouring empire to see what they would do next. Everyone could guess that the heaven-devouring empire was feeling depressed because the other party was only impersonating Longao. No one knew who the other party was, including the heaven-devouring empire. This was the biggest problem. The other party was in the dark while the heaven-devouring empire was out in the open. This meant that the other party had a huge advantage. The most important problem was that the other party was a universal world emperor who was above Bu Jing. Otherwise, why would the heaven-devouring empire tolerate this? As the news continued to spread, the atmosphere in the starry sky became more and more tense. Dark clouds covered the sky. What would happen next? Chapter 2158. Heaven-Devouring Empire. Shenteng was still alive. Shun Zhuo and the other titled world kings were still alive. These were all rumors, but the heaven-devouring empire didn't come out to refute them. Shenteng was depressed and worried at the same time. Because he had always thought that the Starry Sky Realm Emperor killed Bu Jing just to frame him and kill him with a borrowed knife. But as time passed, Shenteng realized that things weren't that simple. There was something wrong with the Starry Sky World Emperor, as if he was doing it on purpose. The heaven-devouring empire could ignore a titled world king, but they couldn't ignore a starry sky world emperor. Shunting knew what a starry sky world emperor meant. If the starry sky world emperor really wanted to deal with the empire would be in big trouble. What should the empire do? The heaven-devouring empire was in a gloomy mood. The starry sky world emperor was too powerful. Your Majesty, do we really have to do this? What else can we do? Shunting sighed. He knew the current situation very well. If it was just Longao alone, they could choose to ignore him. But there was a starry sky world emperor. Most importantly, they didn't know what the starry sky world emperor's intentions were. What if the starry sky world emperor wanted to deal with the empire? Your Majesty, the retired emperor said that we shouldn't disturb him unless it's a matter of life and death. If the retired emperor is about to break through and we act rashly, we might affect the retired emperor. Shunting sighed. As long as there was a way, Shunting wouldn't disturb his father. Shunting's father, Shun Chen, was the previous emperor of the heaven-devouring empire. Hundreds of years ago, Shun Chen had chosen to cultivate in seclusion. He was bound to break through. Back then, Shun Chen had successfully broken through to the starry sky world emperor. If he did, he would become a titled world emperor. However, Shun Chen hadn't come out of seclusion for hundreds of years. There was only one problem. He hadn't become a titled world emperor. Ask his father to come out of seclusion? Or continue waiting? As the emperor of the heaven-devouring empire, he had to put the empire's safety first. If something happened to the empire, how was he going to answer to his father? For a moment, Shunting didn't know what to do. Your Majesty, it is still unknown whether the starry sky realm emperor will really deal with the empire. We don't need to disturb the retired emperor. Your Majesty, why don't we wait? Whether it was Shun Zhuo or Shun He, both of them did not agree to disturb the retired emperor. Because no one knew if the retired emperor would break through. If he were to disturb the retired emperor's breakthrough, the loss to the empire would be too great. A starry sky world emperor and a titled world emperor were two completely different concepts. Let me think about it. Shun He and Shun Zhuo quickly left, leaving Shunting alone in the entire main hall. Ting what happened? Looking at the middle-aged man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Chen Teng was overjoyed. He immediately stood up and bowed respectfully. This child greets imperial father. He felt very guilty. As the emperor of the empire, he had so many experts under his command, yet he still had to disturb his father's cultivation. He was truly ashamed of himself as a son. You don't have to blame yourself. If I don't come out when the empire is in trouble, then tell imperial father, what happened to the empire? Chen Teng did not dare to hide anything. He told his father everything that had happened before, including Longao and the mysterious starry sky realm emperor. After listening to him, Chen Chen sneered and said, Teng this matter is very simple. This person is obviously targeting us. Why would a starry sky realm emperor want to use others to do his dirty work? However, this person must have some scruples and did not dare to take action directly. Regarding this, Chen Ting had already thought about it. Even so, he did not dare to take the risk because the destructive power of a starry sky realm emperor was too strong. Moreover, he came and went without a trace. If this person went crazy and wanted to deal with the empire regardless of everything, just relying on the current strength of the empire, there was really no way to resist. However, now that imperial father had come out of seclusion, even if this person came, the empire did not need to be afraid. Imperial father, what should we do now? Let's wait and see. These 4 simple words were enough to show Chen Chen's calmness. However, after thinking about it, if Chen Chen and the entire heaven-devouring empire were still afraid of a starry sky realm emperor, then there was no need for the heaven-devouring empire to continue existing. Longao had already stepped into the heaven-devouring region, but he did not step into the heaven-devouring realm. Longao now knew that the heaven-devouring empire was not as simple as he had imagined. If he was not wrong, there should be a starry sky realm emperor in the heaven-devouring empire, or even a titled world emperor. It would be unrealistic to say that he was not afraid. Under such circumstances, He could not fight head-on, he could only rely on his wits. However, before that, Longao wanted to find out who the person who wanted to use others to do his dirty work was. He wanted to see if it was Long Mye. Whether this was the doing of the Samsara Star ruler was also Longao's guess. He wasn't 100% sure. In a middle-grade realm, Longao found a place to settle down temporarily. Senior, are you sure that this person is not Long Mye? Longao was curious. He did not know why Shen Tong was so confident that the person who had attacked the heaven-devouring empire was not Long Mye. Longao was very clear that since Shen Tong said so, he definitely would not shoot arrows without reason. If this person was not Long Mye, who could it be? Could it be that this person had a grudge against Bu Jing, and he had blown it out of proportion? Longao, I'm just guessing. Guessing? Longao was extremely depressed. He thought that Shen Tong was 100% sure that this was not Long Mye's doing, but it turned out that it was just a guess. If that was the case, then it was really unknown whether this person was Long Mye or not. How could Shen Tong not know what Longao was thinking? Shen Tong smiled and said, Longao, I know what you mean, but I can tell you clearly that none of the 12 Samsara Star rulers would do such a thing. Although Long Mye is not a good person, I'm sure that he would not do such a thing. If Long Mye wanted to deal with you, he would do it openly instead of framing you. Shen Tong's words made sense, but Longao's intuition told him that even if this matter had nothing to do with Long Mye, it was definitely not simple. Otherwise, why would this person look exactly like him? Could they be his twin brother? It was almost impossible. Not only that, Long Mye looked exactly like him, even their auras were the same. Chapter 2159. He didn't hide anything. Longao recounted what had happened. They looked exactly the same and had the same aura. Other than Long Mye, Longao couldn't think of anyone else who could do this. Shen Tong said solemnly, Longao, this is definitely not Long Mye's doing. However, you still have to be careful because you don't know what this person is trying to do. There was only one explanation if this person wasn't trying to frame Bu Jing. This person didn't want to kill Bu Jing with a borrowed knife but had a grudge against him. Who could it be? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure it out. News of Chen Chen coming out of seclusion spread from the Devouring Sky Realm to the entire Devouring Sky Realm. Not only that, the news of Chen Teng's death and the deaths of the 10 titled world kings were also refuted. This news was suppressed by the news of Chen Chen coming out of seclusion. Many people knew what it meant for Chen Chen to come out of seclusion. Chen Chen, the previous emperor of the Devouring Sky Empire, was also Chen Teng's father. Moreover, Chen Chen had become a Starry Sky World Emperor 100 years ago. After 100 years of seclusion, it was still unknown whether Chen Chen had become a titled world emperor. The Devouring Sky Empire didn't have any legends, so no one knew about it. Regardless of whether Chen Chen had become a titled world emperor, his current strength was enough to look down on the Devouring Sky Realm. Longao also received the news. He wasn't surprised at all. He had already guessed that since the Devouring Sky Empire could stand in the vast universe for so many years, it was impossible for there to be no Starry Sky World Emperor. However, he didn't expect the Starry Sky World Emperor to be Chen Teng's father and Chen Feng's grandfather. He had killed Chen Feng, Chen Chen's grandson, so Chen Chen definitely wouldn't let it go. With Chen Chen's appearance, Longao knew that it would be harder for him to destroy the Devouring Sky Empire. As expected. Just as Longao had guessed, Chen Feng was Chen Chen's most beloved grandson. Because of his seclusion, Chen Chen didn't know that his grandson had died. After learning about it, Chen Chen was furious. Longao who was bloodthirsty. However, Chen Chen did not personally go to the Soaring Dragon Realm. The most important thing now was not the so-called Soaring Dragon Realm, but the mysterious Starry Sky Realm Emperor. Even Chen Chen had not guessed who the other party was until now. Devouring Heaven Domain. When the news of 2 titled realm kings dying spread out, it completely shocked the entire Heaven-devouring realm. Who was it that dared to cause trouble for the Heaven-devouring empire time and time again? This time, there were still people who witnessed it with their own eyes. It was the so-called Longao who did it. Was it really Longao? If Longao was really the Starry Sky Realm Emperor, would he still need to keep dodging and sealing the Soaring Dragon Realm? Since it wasn't Longao, why did this person look exactly the same as Longao? Even their auras were said to be similar. What was going on? The one who was most confused and shocked was Longao. Other than Longmye, who else could it be? They looked exactly the same. Their auras were exactly the same. Longao was extremely depressed. Now that things had come to this point, anyone could tell that this person wasn't trying to frame them. He was obviously trying to deal with the heaven-devouring empire. Could there really be people who looked exactly the same and had the same aura in this world? Under normal circumstances, such a thing was almost impossible. Even the same reincarnation wouldn't happen. As for Longao and Longmye, he was almost certain that this was an illusion created by Longmye. Heaven-devouring realm. A young man who looked exactly the same as Longao was madly chasing after a titled realm king. He was getting closer and closer, and the moment the young man succeeded, Chen Chen and the others appeared. It turned out that Chen Chen had deliberately set up a formation to lure this person out. "You are Longao?" Looking at the young man in front of him, Chen Teng was curious. His intuition told him that the person in front of him wasn't the so-called Longao, but his aura was exactly the same as Longao's. What was going on? Whether I am Longao or not, what does it have to do with you? Chen Teng, I will kill you today. With just you. Chen Chen suddenly laughed crazily. He had seen arrogant people before, but he had never seen such an arrogant person. And who are you? Impudent, this is our retired emperor. What qualifications do you have to scram? The young man ignored them and sneered. Chen Chen waved his hand, stopping the anger of the people behind him. He smiled and said, I really want to know whether you are Longao or not. This was the most important thing because this kind of thing was really special. It had never been seen before. It could be said that it was unheard of. Two people who looked exactly the same might be able to do it, but was it possible for them to have the same aura? You are really long-winded. The young man seemed to be very impatient as he rushed out. Before he even arrived, the terrifying power of the astral world's laws had already enveloped everyone. When one's cultivation broke through to the Starry Sky World Emperor, one would be able to comprehend the power of the astral world's laws. Chen Chen sneered. He didn't put the young man in his eyes. He could clearly sense that the young man had just broken through to the Starry Sky World Emperor realm, but he had broken through to the Starry Sky World Emperor realm more than 100 years ago. It was obvious who was stronger. After coming out of seclusion, Chen Chen was prepared to kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Because of Longao, the reputation of the heaven-devouring empire had been greatly affected. People were talking about it everywhere. He wanted to use this opportunity to intimidate the entire Starry Sky World domain. If he killed this Starry Sky World Emperor, no matter whether he was the real Starry Sky World Emperor or not, who would dare to continue laughing at the heaven-devouring empire? The two Starry Sky World Emperors instantly engaged in a fierce battle. They exchanged blows back and forth, their battle shaking the heavens and earth. In just a few short seconds, the battle had already escalated. Shen Teng and the others hastily retreated. This was because the might of a Starry Sky World Emperor was something that even a titled world king couldn't resist. Chen Teng hated this person to the extreme. It was because of this person that the heaven-devouring empire had lost 3 titled world kings, including a titled world king array master. Even for the heaven-devouring empire, this loss was a little too heavy. This time, no matter what price he had to pay, he had to kill this person. Otherwise, who knew what would happen in the future? The threat of a Starry Sky World Emperor was too great. If this person didn't act openly and chose to assassinate instead, other than the Starry Sky World Emperor, how many people in the heaven-devouring empire would be able to withstand the assassination of a Starry Sky World Emperor? Because of this person would die without a doubt. However, Chen Teng was very confident in his father's strength. As an old Starry Sky World Emperor, he knew his father's strength. Chapter 2160. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore. Longao didn't know who was impersonating him. But he was sure of one thing: the grudge between this person and the heaven-devouring empire wasn't a small matter. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Just as Longao stepped into the heaven-devouring plane, he heard discussions everywhere. The person who killed Bu Jing and the two titled world kings has been lured out. The battle between the two universal world emperors is really exciting. Everyone was shocked. There was no hesitation. Longao immediately got up and rushed to the place where everyone was talking about. Not far away. Looking at the two people fighting, Longao was shocked because the young man fighting Chen Chen did look exactly like him. As for the aura, it was different. But this difference was hard to tell if one didn't sense it carefully. Long Ming. In an instant, Longao knew the identity of the other party. It was Long Ming who had entered the Nine Nether space and followed the Nine Nether old ancestor to cultivate. He couldn't figure out why Long Ming would appear here. Not only that, why did Long Ming's cultivation break through to the universal world emperor level? Longao didn't hesitate. Even though he knew he wasn't a match for the universal world emperor, he still made his move and rushed towards the battle. Longao. Looking at the figure that suddenly appeared, everyone was stunned. Two identical people appeared at the same time. Big brother. Long Ming. After forcing Chen Chen back with a palm, Long Ming said in surprise, "Big brother, it's good to see that you're fine." Chen Chen didn't continue to attack. He finally saw the real Longao. This person who made the heaven-devouring empire lose face was just a small universal world lord. But Chen Chen knew that Longao's cultivation talent was terrifying. According to his son, Longao appeared a few years ago. At that time, Longao was only a level 8 universal cultivator and dared to fight against the Chenkuan sect. With the strength of a level 8 universal cultivator, he destroyed the Chenkuan sect and provoked the heaven-devouring empire. In just a few years, the other party had directly broken through from a grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator to a Starry Sky realm overlord. Such a cultivation speed, if not for witnessing it with his own eyes, he would have never believed it. They were a terrifying bunch. It was precisely because of this that Chen Chen had already decided in his heart that no matter what happened, he had to deal with Longao. If he didn't pull out the roots, then it would grow again when the spring breeze blew. No one dared guarantee to what extent this person would grow to in the future. "Are you Longao?" "That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're the previous emperor of the heaven-devouring empire, Chen Chen." "Ha ha ha, that's me." Long Ming's appearance had changed, and even his aura had changed. Seeing this, Shen Teng and Longao were stunned, because no one could imagine how this person had done it. The two of them were obviously in cahoots. "Longao, I already know about the enmity between you and the Empire, including the fact that this brother of yours killed 3 of our titled martial gods. So what?" Since they dared to go against the heaven-devouring Empire, Longao was not worried at all. Killing one person was still killing. Killing 2 people was still killing. What was the difference between killing less and killing more? Chen Chen wasn't angry at all. Instead, he continued with a smile, "What I mean is simple. As long as the 2 of you are willing to join my heaven-devouring empire, we can write off the enmity between us. Furthermore, I will do my best to help you break through to a higher realm. What do you think?" Compromise. Hearing that his emperor father had chosen to compromise, Chen Ting was shocked. He didn't know what was wrong with his emperor father. Why would he do this out of the blue? After all, it wasn't impossible for him to kill Longao and Longao if they worked together. Since that was the case, why would he do this? He couldn't figure it out. However, no matter how unwilling they were, since Chen Chen had already said it, no one dared to go against him. No matter what, Chen Chen was still the retired emperor of the heaven-devouring empire. His status was far above Chen Teng's. Longao was also a little surprised. He didn't expect Chen Chen to do this. But now that he thought about it, it made sense. If he was alone, he believed that Chen Chen wouldn't have chosen to compromise. After all, he was only the Starry Sky Boundary Lord. Putting aside Chen Chen's strength, The heaven-devouring empire alone could easily destroy him. Chen Chen had no reason to compromise. However, Long Ming's situation was completely different. Although Longao didn't know what happened to Long Ming, he knew that Long Ming was already a genuine Starry Sky World Emperor. Even Chen Chen was afraid of him. If he and Long Ming escaped, the heaven-devouring empire would be in big trouble. Rather than causing such a big trouble, it was better to take him in. After all, Chen Chen was much more powerful than Chen Teng. As for the 3 fallen titled world kings, they were already dead. How could a titled world king be compared to a Starry Sky World Emperor? Not to mention 3 titled world kings, even 30 titled world kings wouldn't be able to compare to a Starry Sky World Emperor. Chen Chen's wishful thinking was really good. Very good, very good. Would Long Ao agree? In any case, Long Ao had the final say in Long Ming. If Long Ao agreed, Long Ming would definitely agree. If Long Ao didn't agree, Long Ming wouldn't agree either. Chen Chen had already seen through this relationship. Hence, he directly asked Long Ao instead of Long Ming. Chen Chen, I can agree, but you have to promise me one thing. Speak. As long as it wasn't too overboard, he believed that Chen Chen would agree. Just as Long Ao had guessed, Chen Chen didn't put him in his eyes at all. Only Long Ming was an existence that he was extremely wary of. If he could pull Long Ming into the heaven-devouring empire, it would be a good thing for the empire. In the vast starry sky, there were countless starry sky empires. The heaven-devouring empire could only be considered a mid-tier existence among the countless starry sky empires. Whether it was Chen Chen or Chen Teng, both of them had great ambitions. They hoped that the heaven-devouring empire could rise and surpass its current height. In order to lead the heaven-devouring empire to rise, experts were the most important thing, especially Starry Sky World Emperors and titled World Emperors. Long Ao smiled and said, Chen Chen, my condition is very simple. I believe that you can definitely fulfill it. As long as Chen Teng is willing to abdicate the throne and let me inherit the throne, I can promise you that not only will the 2 of us join the heaven-devouring empire, I will also lead the heaven-devouring empire to the peak. Anger. Long Ao, you're courting death. Chen Teng's expression changed abruptly when he heard Long Ao's condition. If it was any other condition, they might agree because of a Starry Sky World Emperor. However, how could the heaven-devouring empire agree to this condition? If they agreed, would the heaven-devouring empire still belong to the Chen family? Chapter 2161. Give up the throne. It was simply a joke. Chen Teng and the others couldn't understand why Long Ao would reject their father's offer. Long Ao's offer was a clear rejection. Did Long Ao really think he could go against the entire heaven-devouring empire? Even if Long Ao had a universal world emperor by his side, he wouldn't be a match for the heaven-devouring empire. Instead of getting angry, he laughed. Chen Chen was also shocked. He didn't expect the other party to make such an offer. Long Ao, you're playing with fire. Why do you have to do this? There are some things that should be done and some things that shouldn't be done. I only know one thing. Within 100 years, I will destroy the heaven-devouring empire and replace it with the Long Ao empire. Replace it with the heaven-devouring empire. Long Ao's intention was clear. He wanted to destroy the heaven-devouring empire. It was an arrogant dream. It was almost impossible to succeed. Not to mention destroying a superpower like the heaven-devouring empire. Even destroying a sect in a plane wasn't an easy task. Long Ao, do you think you can do it? Chen Chen laughed. Chen Teng laughed. Everyone laughed. Chen Teng didn't believe it. Chen Chen didn't believe it. No one believed it. In everyone's opinion, Long Ao must be out of his mind. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made such a decision. We'll see if I can do it. Chen Chen, if you agree to my conditions now, I might change my mind. Otherwise, before Long Ao could finish, Chen Chen interrupted and sneered, Long Ao, I don't need to think about it. I can give you an answer now. I won't choose you. However, there's one thing I want to tell you. You don't have it. Ah! Chen Chen and the others were dumbfounded when they saw the 2 disappear. Chen Ting suddenly understood and said helplessly, "Father, I forgot to tell you that this kid has a very powerful starry sky divine tool. He can leave at any time. This is the real reason why we haven't been able to kill him for so long. Why didn't you say so earlier?" She glared at him fiercely. Chen was very clear that if Longao really had such a divine weapon, he would have missed the best opportunity if he did not stop him in time. It was impossible to lock onto Longao's position now. The moment Longao disappeared, Chen had already started to lock onto him. In the end, he did not succeed. He was very shocked. Chen had never imagined that Longao would have such a powerful starry sky divine tool. It was actually able to evade his aura lock. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. "Father, what should we do now?" Having missed the best opportunity, Shen Ting was filled with regret. This time, they failed to kill Longao. Who knew how much trouble they would bring to the Empire in the future? If it was just Longao alone, Shen Ting certainly wouldn't put him in his eyes. However, the situation was completely different now. A starry sky realm emperor had appeared beside Longao. Shen Ting was very clear about what the starry sky world emperor meant. He was not afraid of an open battle. He was only afraid that Longao would assassinate him. Once Longao launched a sneak attack, who else in the entire heaven-devouring empire would be able to stop the assassination of a starry sky world emperor other than his father? Chen was very clear about his son's worries. Not to mention others, even Chen himself was very worried. This was because the assassination of a starry sky world emperor would be troublesome even for him. As long as Longao did not die, he would always be a problem. How should he deal with Longao? It seems like we have to invite Brother Dongfang out of seclusion. Ah! Hearing Chen's words, everyone in the surroundings was shocked because everyone knew very well who the Brother Dongfang that the retired emperor spoke of was. Dongfang had been famous for a long time. He was also a starry sky world emperor. Back then, he had followed the retired emperor to cultivate in seclusion, hoping to break through the bottleneck and become a titled world emperor. After so many years, regardless of whether it was Dongfang Hao or Chen, both of them had not achieved their wish of becoming a titled world emperor. From this, one could imagine how difficult it was to become a titled world emperor from a starry sky world emperor. Dongfang Hao and Chen were extremely talented. Even so, they were still unable to break through. "Let's go." Everyone quickly left with Chen. "Big brother, why don't we make a move?" Long Ming was very curious because he had successfully broken through to the starry sky world emperor realm. Not to mention the others, he might not even lose to Chen. In this case, even if he couldn't kill Chen, it was more than enough to kill Chen Teng and the others. Regarding Long Ming's meaning, Long Qiong was very clear. Shaking his head, Longao said, "I know what you mean. However, the heaven-devouring empire isn't as simple as we think. If we want to destroy the heaven-devouring empire, we have to plan carefully. We can't act rashly. Long Ming, tell me, why are you here? Haven't you been cultivating with the 9 nether-old ancestor?" Long Qiong was very curious. Just in case, the two of them entered the dragon seal space. Long Qiong and Long Ming hugged each other tightly. Long Ming then said, "Big brother, the 9 nether-old ancestor is dead." "What happened?" "I don't know either. In any case, the old master of the netherworld died. After that, I met the godly diviner. With the help of the godly diviner, I made consecutive breakthroughs in the shortest amount of time possible." Divine mathematician? Could it be that the 9 nether-old ancestor was killed by the divine mathematician? Long Qiong's intuition told him that the divine mathematician wouldn't help Long Ming for no reason. There must be something fishy going on. With the divine mathematician's strength, helping Long Ming break through to the starry sky world emperor was a piece of cake. "Long Ming, how did you know about the grudge between me and the heaven-devouring empire?" "The divine mathematician told me. He said that you were in danger and asked me to come and help you." The divine mathematician again. Long Qiong's face turned solemn and he sighed deeply. This made Long Ming curious. He didn't know why his big brother was so helpless when the divine mathematician came to help him break through to the starry sky world emperor. What the hell happened? Big brother, what's going on? Given the relationship between Long Ming and Longao, Long Ming asked unscrupulously. He knew very well that regardless of whether his question was right or wrong, his big brother would not blame him. Long Ming, there's something you don't know. The Tianwu plane we're in isn't simple at all. As for the God Diviner's identity, it's even more complicated. There are 12 rulers of the starry sky. The rulers of the 5-element starry sky, the ruler of the devouring starry sky, the ruler of the lightning starry sky, the ruler of the space starry sky, the ruler of the time starry sky, the ruler of the destruction starry sky, the ruler of the reincarnation starry sky, the ruler of the slaughter starry sky, the ruler of the divine calculation starry sky, the ruler of the sword intent starry sky, the ruler of the immortal tyrant body starry sky, and the ruler of the dark starry sky. The God Diviner is one of the rulers of the divine calculation starry sky. P.S. From tomorrow until the 24th, there will be 3 chapters a day. Little Nine has to save up, or else he won't be able to complete the mission. On the 24th, the entire website will be pushed forward. On the 25th and 26th, there will be an explosion of 100,000 words each. If anyone doesn't believe me, let's wait until the 24th, 25th, and 26th. There will be an explosion of 200,000 words in 2 days. Everyone, please forgive me. After all, this is a chance for the Longao to rise up. Those who support Little Nine, please wait a little. Chapter 2162. The Starry Sky Ruler. Long Ming knew what the Starry Sky Ruler was. There were 12 Starry Sky Rulers in total. They were the strongest beings in the universe. Long Ming never imagined that the godly mathematician would be the Starry Sky Ruler. Big brother, are you afraid that the godly mathematician will attack us? Not necessarily. Longao still didn't know what the godly mathematician was. Was he a friend or foe? He sighed helplessly and said, Long Ming, I don't know what the godly mathematician is, but I'm sure that we're all pawns of the Starry Sky Rulers. Pawns? Yes, pawns. Longao knew that it wasn't just him, Long Ming, Long Qiong, and everyone else in the universe were pawns of the 12 Starry Sky Rulers. Big brother, what should we do now? We'll take it one step at a time. What we need to do now is to increase our strength. If we want to get rid of our status as pawns, we need to be strong enough. Increasing his strength was easier said than done. Longao heaved a sigh of relief. First of all, he was sure that Long Ming was fine. Second, Long Ming had broken through to the Starry Sky World Emperor level. Even the heaven-devouring empire couldn't casually attack him. If they went too far, both Jade and Stone would be destroyed. Longao knew that Chen Chen and Chen Ting must be wary of Long Ming. If Long Ming were to assassinate them, the heaven-devouring empire would be doomed. Big brother, what's wrong with Long Qiong? Long Ming finally noticed that something was wrong with Long Qiong. His true body disappeared. Only his primordial spirit remained. What was going on? Long Ming thought that someone had attacked Long Qiong, but he didn't expect that. He didn't hide anything and told them what had happened. It must have been hard on him. I'm very satisfied. Longao, Long Qiong, and Long Ming looked at each other and laughed at the same time. The news that Longao had a Starry Sky World Emperor by his side had already spread throughout the entire devouring sky region. Everyone who received the news turned pale with fright because no one knew why a Starry Sky World Emperor would suddenly appear by Longao's side. If that was the case, the heaven-devouring empire would be in trouble. A Starry Sky World Emperor was enough to cause a lot of trouble for the heaven-devouring empire. Even though they knew that Longao wasn't a match for the heaven-devouring empire, many of them were still looking forward to seeing how Longao would deal damage to the heaven-devouring empire. The competition was cruel. Reality was cruel. In the vast starry sky, the strong were respected, and strength was the most important. The heaven-devouring empire had dominated the heaven-devouring region for so many years, and many people were unhappy with it. It was only because of the heaven-devouring empire's deterrence that no one dared to speak out. As long as the heaven-devouring empire fell, other empires would take its place. The situation changed quickly. 3 figures shot out from the heaven-devouring plane. They were none other than Tian Yin, Hao Chen, and Hao Feng. Because of Bu Jing, the 3 of them had chosen to join the heaven-devouring empire. However, after Bu Jing's death, the 3 of them felt that they were in a tragic situation. They didn't know if Shen Ting would deal with them. Of the 36 stratagems, escape was the best strategy. As long as they left the heaven-devouring plane, no matter how powerful the heaven-devouring empire was, finding the 3 of them in the vast starry sky would be like finding a needle in a haystack. Old ancestor, we've finally left the heaven-devouring plane. Hao Chen and Hao Feng finally heaved a sigh of relief. Tian Yin nodded and said, even though we've left the heaven-devouring plane, it doesn't mean that we're safe. Let's leave the heaven-devouring plane first. The 3 of them didn't dare to hesitate. Just as they were about to leave, 2 figures appeared in front of them. Longao. If it was in the past, the 3 of them would definitely be happy to see Longao. But now, the 3 of them didn't want to see Shen Teng and Longao. If Longao was alone, the 3 of them wouldn't have the slightest fear. However, the 3 of them knew that the current Longao wasn't the same as before. With a Starry Sky World Emperor as his underling, how could the 3 of them resist a Starry Sky World Emperor? Only Longao could have a Starry Sky World Emperor as his underling. Everyone, including the 3 of them, couldn't figure out why a powerful Starry Sky World Emperor would be Longao's underling. What was the reason for this? The 3 of them weren't afraid of Longao, but the Starry Sky World Emperor beside Longao. Even Tian Yin knew the difference in strength between him and the Starry Sky World Emperor. A formation set up by a titled World King wouldn't be able to kill a Starry Sky World Emperor. Once a battle broke out, the result would be obvious. Longao, there's no grudge between us. As long as you're willing to let us go, we can write off everything that happened between us. What do you think? Are you threatening me? A cold smile appeared on his face. Longao had been waiting for this moment. He knew the 3 of them well. With Bu Jing's death, the 3 of them would definitely choose to leave the heaven-devouring empire. The 3 of them didn't know if Shen Ting would deal with them. Only by leaving would they have the upper hand. Cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots to prevent future troubles. Even if Long Ming didn't appear, Longao would still come. Tian Yin's expression was extremely ugly. He knew very well why Longao was so unyielding now. Even so, he couldn't take the risk. If he were to die here, it wouldn't be worth it. After all, the Starry Sky World Emperor beside Longao was too powerful. Longao, state your conditions. As long as it's within my capabilities, I won't go back on my words. Left with no choice, Tian Yin could only choose to compromise. If he didn't compromise, death would be the only way out. Everyone was afraid of death, including the 3 of them. Since that's the case, I won't be polite. My condition is simple. As long as the 3 of you swear a blood oath to submit to me, I won't kill the 3 of you. Submit. Blood oath. The 3 of them were completely stunned. However, it was impossible for the 3 of them to agree because they knew very well that as long as the 3 of them chose to make a blood oath and submit to Longao, then Longao could kill them at any time in the future as long as he wanted to. The 3 of them were furious. When they chose to submit to the heaven-devouring empire, they didn't swear a blood oath. Longao wanted to do this because he didn't trust them. The 3 of them were speechless. Why would Longao trust them? Longao, other than that, I can agree to any other condition. I can even give you the secret that I've kept for 1,000 years as long as you let us go. How about it? A secret that you've kept for 1,000 years? Tell me. If your secret is enough to move me, I can consider letting you go. Chapter 2163. Longao had already gained the upper hand. As for the other 3, they could only retreat and compromise again. There was no other way. Whoever was stronger had the right to speak. This was an unchanging truth. Hao Chen and Hao Feng did not dare to speak. They only hoped for one thing, and that was to leave this place smoothly. Longao, I have kept this secret for 1,000 years. No one knows. As long as you are brave enough, you can get the thing inside. I believe it will be of great help to you. Cut the crap. Long Ming, who had not spoken, suddenly spoke. Long Ming's deterrence was obviously above Longao's. No matter what, Long Ming was still the Starry Sky World Emperor. How could Tian Yin not be afraid? She smiled happily again. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong. If Long Ming was not the Starry Sky World Emperor, would Tian Yin still be like this? Long Ming just snorted. Thousands of years ago, I got a secret. Strictly speaking, it was not a secret that I got. It was my master who got it. My master just passed it to me before he died. I just want to hear the main point. Cut the crap. Long Ao was very annoyed. He was not sure what kind of secret Tian Yin was talking about. If it was useless, wouldn't he be wasting his time? He was furious. However, Tian Yin did not dare to say anything. Because of Long Ming's deterrence, even if he was humiliated, he still had to endure it. The secret is that there is a place where there is a Chaos Stone Tablet. Where is it? Chaos Stone Tablet. Long Ao was very clear. At this time, Tian Yin would definitely not lie to him. 12 Chaos Stone Tablets. 10 Starry Sky Rulers had already appeared. Only 2 Chaos Stone Tablets were left. Darkness Chaos Stone Tablet and Time Chaos Stone Tablet. 12 Chaos Stone Tablets. 5 Elements Chaos Stone Tablet. Devouring Chaos Stone Tablet. Lightning Chaos Stone Tablet. Space Chaos Stone Tablet. Time Chaos Stone Tablet. Destruction Chaos Stone Tablet. Reincarnation Chaos Stone Tablet. Slaughter Chaos Stone Tablet. Divine Divination Chaos Stone Tablet. Sword Chaos Stone Tablet. Immortal Tyrant Body Chaos Stone Tablet. Darkness Chaos Stone Tablet. In other words, if Tian Yin was right, then this Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was one of the 2 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. Long Ao was well aware of the current situation. If he could obtain a Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and assimilate it as fast as he could, by the time he became a Starry Sky Ruler, even if the Starry Sky Ruler or the Starry Sky Ruler of Time or Starry Sky Ruler appeared, it would be useless. This was his chance. Tian Yin smiled. Tian Yin could totally imagine Long Ao having such an expression. Chaos Abyss. Chaotic Abyss. How Chen and How Feng were shocked when they heard the ancestor's words. The two of them were very clear about what the ancestor meant by the chaotic abyss. How should I find the primal chaos tablets? Long Ao was very clear that no matter where it was, it would not be easy to find it. Otherwise, why would Tian Yin not search for it? I don't know. He didn't know. Long Ao's face turned cold. Was Tian Yin playing with him? Long Ao, this is only a legend. I am not lying at all. If you dare to go to the chaotic abyss, you might be able to obtain a primal chaos tablet. Long Ao tried to sense and found that Tian Yin did not seem to be lying. He turned and left. Just as Tian Yin and the other two heaved a sigh of relief, thinking that Long Ao would not attack, Long Ming suddenly charged towards them. Tian Yin was shocked and immediately roared, Long Ao, you are going back on your words. I said I wouldn't kill you, but that doesn't mean my brothers won't kill you. Goodbye. How could Long Ao leave Tian Yin and the other two behind? If he did not remove the roots, they would grow again. With Long Ming's strength, it would be easy for him to destroy the three of them. Big brother, are we really going to the chaotic abyss? Long Ming did not know whether Tian Yin was telling the truth or not. What if it was false? Let's first investigate the situation of the chaotic abyss. If it was something else, Long Ao might not interfere. Only the primal chaos tablet, especially with the awakening of the sovereign's primordial spirits, Long Ao was getting more and more anxious. If he did not investigate, he would not know, but once he did, he was shocked. According to the information obtained, the Chaos Abyss didn't belong to any Starry Sky Empire, nor did it belong to any realm, nor did it belong to any plane. It could be said that the Chaotic Abyss was an independent existence. No one dared to enter the Chaotic Abyss. The reason was simple. According to the legend, the chaotic abyss was filled with cracks in space. No matter who it was, even the Starry Sky Emperor, no one dared to casually step into the chaotic abyss. Did he really want to go to such a place? Go. Or not? For a moment, Longao did not know what to do. Because he did not know whether Tian Yin was telling the truth or not. What if it was false? If there was no primal chaos tablet in the chaotic abyss, then he would be screwed. No matter what, the chaotic abyss was filled with cracks in space. If he rashly entered, he would most likely die. Cracks in space were known as the nemesis of cultivators. No matter who it was, no one dared to touch a crack in space. Big brother, what should we do? Let's go. In the end, Longao decided to go to the chaotic abyss. The current situation was very unfavorable for him. Intuition told Longao that if too many sovereigns appeared around him, who knew what would happen? So he had to find the primal chaos tablet as soon as possible. He hoped to refine it. If he could become a sovereign of Starry Sky, then he would not have to fear anything. Longao was not worried about himself. No matter what, he was still alone. Even if he ran, there was no problem. He was afraid of his family and sect. But one had to know that his family and sect were all in the martial heaven plane. If the divine mathematician really wanted to deal with him, then what would happen to his family and sect? Longao felt very helpless. So for his family, he had to go all out. Since Longao chose to go to the chaotic abyss, Longming naturally wouldn't say anything. The two of them quickly rushed to the chaotic abyss. The slaughter abyss was known as the most terrifying place in the vast starry sky. It was also a place where cracks in space wreaked havoc. No matter who it was, no one would casually step into the chaotic abyss because no one was willing to take the risk. As for the primal chaos tablet's existence in the chaotic abyss, it was still a mystery. Very few people knew about it. Even if news of the primal chaos tablet leaked out, how many people would dare to rashly enter the chaotic abyss? Longao could be considered a daring expert, but he had also been forced to this point. If there had been another way out, who would have been willing to take the risk? Furthermore, he clearly knew that this trip was very dangerous. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.